We started off as Titans, and now we're the Jets. The start of every season always starts with the sweats. Vinny T, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, what's the deal? Don't even try to tell me that the curse ain't real. We're coming for you, better run and hide. Snowball and Johnny boys, Jets worldwide. Why, yeah, boy. Like and subscribe. Fitzpatrick, the end of every season is always tragic. Doug Bryan missed, everybody got pissed. 2 Super Bowl seasons and with just one twist. 15 years without the playoffs, is Aaron Glenn legit? We're the freaking New York Jets, and we're built for this shit. We're coming for you, better run and hide. Snowball and Johnny boys, Jets worldwide. Like and subscribe.
Welcome. It is Friday night, a solo episode of Jets Worldwide. Wide. Big shout out to my co-host, Mr. Snowball. He is currently on the beach enjoying the beautiful sun rays while I am pretty much dressed up, fully layered, and it is cold as anything over here. It's been raining, fog, but he's sending me pictures of him at the Polynesian Hall of Fame, him going on the Arizona, checking it out, and I'm just here like, awesome, thanks, but he's having a great time. But guys, it is Jets Worldwide Friday night, and like I always say, it's Friday, you just got paid, but we got bills to pay. So with that being said, I am excited to bring on our special guest of the night. I have been watching them for a while. You guys know one of the persons already, but the other guy, I really enjoy how he breaks down the other sports that are out there too. I mean, we were talking about the Lindsey Vonn incident that occurred. We were talking about even some Giants conversation, so I won't say nothing about that, but you know what? Let's get into it. I'm excited to bring him onto the show. It's going to be awesome. So with that being said, let me talk to you guys a little bit about it because I don't know if you guys are ready, but I am ready. First off, the Manchild show with Boyd Green Digital makes their premiere debut here with us. They've been covering New York sports for over 25 years. He's done television 6+ years. The Manchild show with Boyd Green, it really brings you unfiltered sports thoughts, heated debates, insider scoops straight from 2 die-hard New York fans. And first, up to bat, let's go ahead and bring him on. The Manchild himself, our guy, Mr. The Manchild. Lurch, how are you? Welcome.
With you, man. I got the lighting effects and everything here on a Friday night. Got myself a beer, baby. Let's do it. Friday night. I'm ready to kick.
Well, and then I'm excited to have you on. But let's bring your guest on, your host on over here tonight with us, right?
Oh, he's coming too, huh?
We grew up around the same era. This probably got us suspended more than one time. I mean, consistent, right? It was something that you just had to do. And if you didn't do it, you weren't cool. But with that being said, your host of the Manchild show himself, Paul Boyd Green Esden. BG.
Let's go, baby! The DX theme. All right.
You're right. A lot of principal sit-downs when I told the teacher, hey, teach, yeah, I've got 2 words for you. Suck it! And then the crotch chop that normally got us sent to the principal's office immediately. So we got a Friday night DX. Look at this group. We've got a great faction here on JWW. Thanks for having us.
Hey, Johnny, before you start asking the questions, let me ask one of you. I love the open there. That was pretty cool. So who put that together? Who's got the vocals on that? Tell me a little bit about that open.
So I'm going to have to go ahead and give a lot of love. First off, you saw that really cool, YouTube post that we had that was talking about the show and everything. So first off, Snowball is the artist. He is the artiste of the group, right? None of this works without Snowball. But he left. He was on a plane. He was drinking some Mai Tais on a beach. I was panicking. I had no idea. So I give a call to my guy, Macho. I'm like, hey, Macho, bro, are you busy right now? He's like, I'm kind of under the weather. I'm a little bit sick. So I call him. He hooks it all up for us.
Nice.
But the intro video was made by Macho. Macho killed it on there. I mean,
good job.
He literally listened to all the lyrics. Now, and the lyrics were written by myself and by Snowball, but mostly old Snowball.
Mm-hmm.
I put the mixing of the music together, and then it came in. I love bachata. I love a little bit of merengue. So putting that in there to kind of give a little bit of a twist to it to get everybody excited on a Friday night. I mean, you got your drink in your hand. I think Boy Green, I saw him. I think he had a little baby bottle somewhere over there because
some Mountain Dew or something,
right? Yeah, so I saw that.
Some breast milk for the kids. I'm not sure what's going on over there. Hey, he's got his pint glass. Way to go, Boy Green.
100%. But with that being said, let's get into it. First off, guys, thank you so much for coming onto the show, man. And if everybody does not know, if you're living under a rock, you guys need to go over and subscribe to their show. Right over here. It's literally right there. Go give them a check. Check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. The sports talk that's over there needs to be heard, needs to be liked, needs to be hit with the sub. And if you're watching this over here, we're over here trying to grow too at JetsWorldWide. So please make sure you hit the like and hit the sub. But not only do they talk about sports, but they also have a really cool, I think it's a place that nobody's really dabbling in. And if you guys like Survivor, they really have a Survivor piece of it itself. So which is really, really, really cool, right? But guys, before I go into it and start talking about how you guys met, etc., talk to me, talk to the world out there. The Manchild show, how did it all start? What was going on? What was what occurred?
BG, you want me to start?
Of course, it started before I was there, so please.
So Paul wasn't the beginning of the Manchild show. The Manchild show was originally called Bud and the Manchild. Mm-hmm. I've always been the Manchild. I acquired that nickname in college at Syracuse University at the Newhouse School, where I came to study broadcasting and become a sports broadcaster. I grew up in Queens, New York. I'm a diehard Met fan, and we can get into all my fandoms. I know you see I'm a Giants fan, so sorry, all you Jet fans, but I like the Jets too. So I grew up in New York, and then I came to the Newhouse School, and then when I got out, I got a job in local television, and then after 6 years in TV, I got an opportunity to get into management on the radio side, and then my bosses asked me if I could do something on air, and so I was like, this management job kind of has taken up a lot of hours. When do you think I'm doing a show on the air or something? You know how much time it takes to prep for a show? And so I wasn't sure what to do. And then I figured if I got a partner, maybe that would work because I'd only have half as much work theoretically. I don't know if that really worked out with the partner I chose, to be honest with you. I still ended up doing a lot of the work. But he was a great partner. And my partner was a guy named Bud Poliquin, who was a local columnist for the Syracuse Post-Standard and Herald Journal, the local newspaper here in town. I figured I'd use him because he's a columnist, and columnists have opinions. And so Bud and I started the show, 25 plus years ago or somewhere in that neighborhood, around 25 years ago. Thought it would probably last 6 months or a year. Neither one of us was very serious about it. Didn't think it was going to last. And I ended up hosting the show with Bud for 18 years until he finally retired. So that was kind of the genesis of it. So it was called Bud and the Manchild. Bud was obviously his first name, and Manchild, as I said, was my nickname that I acquired at college. And then Paul, in the meantime, towards the end of Bud's tenure, First, he was a student of mine at SUNY Oswego, where I'm a college professor and help journalism and broadcasting students. So he was in my class. Then he became my intern. Then he became our producer. And then when Bud finally retired, he'd hung around long enough, and I wasn't ready to hang him up. So I was like, oh, you want to do this, kid? You want to jump in with the old man here and host the show? And he was like, hell yeah. What do you think I've been waiting for? And so then Paul and I started working, and we've been working together almost 10 years at this point now. And now we've moved the radio show completely into the digital world. We've been here a little over 7 months. And, we're a nice little growing commodity at the moment, trying to really grow it into something meaningful.
So BG, right?
Yes, sir.
Give me the details. Give me the was he yelling at you?
Yeah.
Was he going old school style, right? Like in Catholic school with the rulers and just,
oh, sure.
So, I mean, let me know. First off, he's from Queens and he's rocking the blue and white over there. So how did you take to that when you were like, hey man, I'm a Jets fan. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I've said this before, that my dream was to play in the NFL. So I wanted to, so that was my whole plan. Plan A, B, C, D was, woohoo, I'll go to the NFL, baby. And obviously that didn't happen. If anyone saw me at the tailgate, I'm 5'3" on a slanted hill. So, the calls didn't come. I enjoyed my high school career for what it was, and I enjoyed playing football, camaraderie, locker room, all that stuff. Two-a-days back in the day. We don't do that anymore, but like all of that was cool to me. I loved all of it. And when I realized, like, yikes, football isn't happening for me, I thought the next best thing was to find a path to talking about football, like a commentator or play-by-play or radio or TV or something. So I went to Cayuga Community College. They have 2 campuses, one in Fulton, New York, one in Auburn, New York. And I started off at Fulton, New York, because, everyone's got to do gen ed. So I had to do all the normal basic classes that anyone did. And I heard at the Auburn campus, they had like a TV and a radio station. And it's an overall smaller school, so you could get your hands on everything. I'm like, oh, yeah, baby, here we go. So I dabbled in that, ultimately ended up transferring to SUNY Oswego for my final 2.5 years of college over there. And that's when I got several classes with this guy, Jim the Manchild Lurch. Like media writing and
excuse me, it's Professor Lurch at the college.
Professor Lurch, right? Yeah, there you go. That took forever, by the way, because like I was born and raised, as you guys, most of you know, in a military family, so everything is sir, ma'am. Every job I've ever done, every ma'am or sir that walks through, it's sir, ma'am. That they immediately get offended and say like, hey, man. A sir's my father. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just sort of built in. So, yeah, so when he was Professor Lurch for like my entire 2.5 years of college, and then all of a sudden we were working together, whether as a subservient, as an intern producer, or until we were co-host, on the same level. Like I always called him Professor Lurch. So that took a long time to break up there. But yes, I just sort of pestered him. I took a sports broadcasting class. And there's TV, radio, there's all kinds of fun stuff that you do in that class. And I had overheard like, oh, wow, this guy does a radio show somewhere. And I said, oh, okay, radio. All right, that sounds like an in to me. And I pestered him about it for a little bit. And eventually he broke through. And I think and Lurch has told this story to his classes before. And he hasn't told it here, obviously. But one of the bits you do in a sports broadcasting class is a mock radio show. So 2 or 3 guys or girls get together, and then he lets you pick out a topic, and then you do a mock radio show. You pretend you're on a station, you do your bit, whatever it is, you do it like in 15, 20 minutes, take some callers, things of that nature. And I remember I love the NFL. I'm obviously a Jets guy, but I love the overall NFL. So I said, guys, let's dig into something here. Let's go like power rankings. And I bit off way more than I could chew. Some students, right, they run out of time. They pick out a topic. They can't talk enough about it that they run out of time. We pick too much. I said, let's pick our top 5 teams and our bottom 5 teams. Think about that. 3 people, 30 possible combinations. That was stupid. We were dumb. We were idiots for doing that. So we went way over the time.
It's supposed to be 15 minutes, John. Everybody gets 15 minutes. We do it live in class in front of the rest of the class. And you got to work with your teammates. You get a week to prepare. You get to pick your topic. You get a week to prepare.
Yeah, and so I went way overboard on the time. We realized that immediately because, Lurch is to whoever the main host is, he's off camera. We're doing this live in a room, and he's giving like time cues. Up, there's 5 minutes left. There's this minutes left. And we immediately realized, like, geez, we got to call an audible at the line of scrimmage here. This is a disaster. We are not going to have enough time for everybody. So we sort of pivot and go crazy, and Lurch saw something in that radio rant room that I did with him and said, hey, radio internship?
I did something, Johnny, that I rarely do, if I could jump in here for a second.
Please. Yeah.
I mean, as a college professor, I mean, there are many students that I come across that I see talent in. I'm like, wow, this guy's got talent. Wow, he's really sharp on TV. I could see this guy doing TV. I mean, I've been in the biz for a long time. I know talent when I see it. And so Paul was this quirky little guy with this quirky little voice and this kind of weird style that I had just kind of never experienced. And I did something I rarely do because, I might say, I'll give my students write-ups. Obviously, that it'll reflect their grade if they're doing good work. But I did something I rarely do. And I've probably done this 2 or 3 times in the 15 plus years now that I've been a college professor. I said, hey, Paul, come see me after class. And then I pulled him aside and I said, you do any talk radio? And he's like, no, you haven't done anything? You don't do anything for the student station or anything? No, nope. I was like, well, you're pretty darn good at that. Like maybe you ought to think about it. You ought to think about maybe doing that. I think you kind of have some talent. You're kind of different and quirky, and I like it. I think an audience would like it. So if I was attracted to it, I figured other people would be attracted to it. So I just planted a seed. That was it. It was just a comment. But I don't usually do that with my students where I pull somebody out and point out to them that they might have talent, But it was an unusual thing that happens once in a while as a college professor. And obviously somehow it stuck with Paul. I don't know what kind of impression that left with him. You could ask him that question. I don't know.
I definitely will. And first off, everybody that's watching, guys, thank you so much. You guys are watching Jets Worldwide, wide. Make sure you guys smash the like, hit the sub. We are going to take some calls a little bit later on. So we do want you guys to be here. It'll be awesome because we are going to get into some Jets conversations, some real Jets convo. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. Earlier, somebody had asked Boy Green, how do you do it every single day? I mean, look, the Jets have not been good for the past 10 years, but there's always something going on with them. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. I want to ask you guys this. Walk me through like the first time you guys met. Like, what were the circumstances? Did you have any idea that you would end up doing a show together? What was Boy Green wearing? Did he have any kind of hoop earrings? Did he have any kind of piercings on his nose? A lot of us would love to know this because, Lurch, I feel like you are the perfect individual to give us a uncut deep dive of what Boy Green was prior to being Boy Green.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I could say about that, I mean, you got to remember how I met Paul was he was a student. So he just wanders into my class with 20 other people, all looking to get educated and take a course. So I don't really have a strong recollection of what he was wearing that day or what he looked like or anything. He was just another student in my class whose name I was trying to learn. So, I mean, first impression, at least in the classroom, wouldn't have gone far, but I'll fast forward it to when he approaches me and says he wants to come intern for me. And then the first day he shows up at the radio station. The first day he shows up at the radio station, he is literally head to toe in green. Jets shirt, Jets hat, Jets sneakers, Jets socks. I pretty much felt like he must have been wearing Jets underwear that day too. It was just so overwhelming. I was like, oh, so you like the Jets, huh? He's like, yeah, a bit. I was like, okay. And then every day he showed up for the internship several days a week. It was a different attire, but it was the same attire. It was all green, which obviously led to what is you see in quotes in the middle of his name there, Paul Boy Green Esden Jr. I used to nickname all the interns who worked for us after I got to know them a little bit, and then when they did sports flashes and sports updates, I let my interns come on the air and do stuff with us because I wanted them to truly get an experience, not just be getting me coffee. And so they would do sports flashes at the top of the hour. And Paul started doing those, and I was like, I got to come up with a nickname for this kid. And then it just happened. I was just like, Boy Green, come on. I mean, he's a little mite of a guy, and he's always wearing green. I mean, Boy Green makes total sense. So that was that. That's how he got the nickname.
And again, this is pinch yourself stuff, right? So when he gives me the Boy Green nickname, I'm like, Boy Green. Like, again, the first thing I think of is like a rejected superhero. So I'm like, Boy Green, where's my cape? And I'm like, oh boy, that's terrible. And but eventually you just embrace it, because again, Lurch sort of told me the story that, you know, whenever you get handed a nickname by the Lord, you know, you don't give yourself a nickname. That's the rules. It's that, hey, you know, you're stuck with it forever. So I sort of embraced it. And again, it's crazy. This pinch me. I should have like a poster or something from it. If you look, you know, and this is going to sound super egotistical, so if it does, it does. But like the Boy Green thing became a thing. The Jets invited me to their facilities. The New York Jets, the team that I love, the team that I care about and think about more often than I'd like to admit every day of my life, invited me, and I thought it was a spam email. I didn't think it was real, and I get an email from the New York Jets saying, hey, would you be interested in coming to our facilities for a documentary on you and other Jets Twitter people? And I'm like, what? At first I thought it was fake, but I'm like, oh, well, I better respond. And I went in that building, and we do these interviews talking about the Jets and all this other stuff. And they say, hey, we want to do some promo for the intro and stuff. Here, can you come up to our studios? And I'm like, what is going on? There's people with like the fake ice, like that is blowing in like a player introduction. And then it just goes like, Boy Green on this intro in a professional voice. And I'm just like, what? And that, who knows if that happens if my nickname is Peanuts or something. Well, whatever the hell my nickname is. Does everything change or happen in that way or whatever? So, you know, that's crazy. But to go back to your original question, right? So, you know, when you're applying for college classes, I didn't know Lurch from the other guy when I'm applying, when I'm just seeing names. But what us kids use in college is this website. It's called ratemyprofessor.com. And when you're figuring out teachers and stuff, this thing tells you about what they look like, how hard or easy their class is, how are they with students, their history. So this is a website that all kinds of, I don't know if, I'm sure college kids still use it, but it would tell you like, oh, like this guy's lame or loser, or oh wow, he's great, or anything and everything. So there's all this stuff on Rate My Professor, and I saw this stuff on Lurch, and like there's these written comment sections, but they're like whatever the word is, anonymous. Like it doesn't say Steve did this, it's whoever. And they said, yay, he's got a quirky voice. He's super passionate. He's super like, you know, he's into it. Like, you know, it's there's like a practicality. Like he's been in the field before. He's not just some book nerd in a library. It's broadcasting in 1922. It's the this and the that. So there's none of that. And I saw that and I said, oh wow, that sounds interesting. All right, I'm in. And I wanted to do, you know, something in this profession. I wasn't sure what it was. So yeah, that was my first impression of him. And then the first class that, you know, I hear it. There's a little bit of Manchild in there, you know. You know, it's not the full class, but there's Manchild in there that squeaks out every once in a while. I went, oh wow, this is a guy that was on the Rate My Professor website. So
that was going to be my next question. It was going to be to you, Lurch. Like, how did your actual on-air nickname come from? Like, who gave it to you? And give me the full story behind it, because you kind of already broke it down how BG got his. I mean, how he got his nickname, right? It's BG, Boy Green. That's what we all know him as, right? I feel weird calling him Paul. So, like, when we were talking and you were like, oh, you know, myself and Paul know each other. I'm like,
yeah, you know,
who's Paul again? Like,
exactly.
Is that guy.
Yeah.
My nickname was given to me in college at Syracuse University. I work for the student station called WAER, which is the station that the Bob Costases and the Marv Alberts and the Dick Stocktons and the Iron Eagles, and the list goes on and on. You know, Tirico, you know the list. So, and that's one of many reasons why I came to Syracuse University, because it is in a lot of ways broadcaster U. So having gotten into school, I actually wanted to go down south, to be honest with you. I didn't want to come to this nasty weather that I live in now.
Georgia?
All time. I was actually looking at North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Wake Forest. I looked at some schools in both California and in Florida. But to be honest with you, I visited a lot of those schools, and I also visited Syracuse. And after I visited the schools, it was very clear to me that Syracuse not only had a great program, but it had all the things outside of the classroom that were going to help me get into the career faster. Got to remember one thing about me, Johnny. I went into the work world in New York before I went back to college. So I was in my late 20s when I returned to college to chase broadcasting. I didn't have any clue when I was in my early 20s what the heck I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And then after working in the real world for a while and deciding what I didn't want to do, accounting, which is where I was, I decided to go back to school for broadcasting, and in particular to cover sports. And so I go from community college to Syracuse University. And so I'm working at Syracuse University for the student station, WAER. And one of the things that we would do once you're on the staff, is we do updates in the afternoons during the regular programming that was going on, like at the top and the bottom of the hour. And so you'd get your sports stories together, and then you'd go in the booth and you deliver like a 1 minute and 30, like a 90-second update. Well, one night I was there early evening, and I was I was writing my update and practicing it. And on Wednesday nights, this was a Wednesday night, in order to get on the air, you have to get cleared. And the way you get cleared is you meet with a guy called the personnel director. He's one of the students, and he listens to you. You come in during the week. I had to go through all this before I got on the air. At this point, I'm already on the air. You come in at like the crack of dawn in the morning, like at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you do the morning casts with the morning caster, except you don't do them on the air. You go into a recording booth, you gather the same stories, and then you record one of the updates, and then you go home. And then you bring it back on Wednesday night to be listened to, and the personnel director rips you a new one. I mean, it's the most awful thing. They like tear you apart. You screwed up this. What are you doing in that? You got to fix this. I mean, they rip you, and you go out of there with your tail between your legs every week going, oh my God, am I ever going to get on the air? And then eventually you get better and you get on the air. But it's really like a hazing kind of, it's really tough. It's very humiliating. Anyway, so I'm there, personnel night. So all these freshmen and sophomores are lined up to see the personnel director because everybody comes on that night. So there were probably about 10 guys. And so they're around this little corner, and it's a pretty narrow, like L-shaped room that the department was in, or the sports department was. And one of my buddies who was also on the staff, a guy named Rhett Lewis, Rhett is standing in the doorway. I'm reading my sportscast out loud, practicing it. And all these freshmen and sophomores, I'm not even paying much attention to them, are standing nearby waiting to see the personnel director. He looks at the scene and he goes, "Manchild." And I just kind of turn and look at him. I recognize his voice. I go, "What are you talking about, Red?" He says, "You're a man-child." I said, "What do you mean I'm a man-child? What are you talking about?" He goes, "A man among children." Because remember, I'm almost 30 years old at this point. All right. And these are freshmen and sophomores. These are teenagers, late teenagers, And so he's looking at all these young faces, and then he's seeing me here doing my cast. And so he just calls me Manchild. Well, okay. All right. Big deal. All right. A moment in time, right? The next day I show up to do casts again. And like other people that are already on the staff are like, "Hey, Manchild. What's up, Manchild?" And everyone just starts calling me Manchild. I'm like, "Shut up. That's my name is Jim. Don't call me man." So first, of course, I'm resistant like anyone is to a nickname. And then eventually I just gave up. Everybody just started calling me Manchild, and nobody called me Jim anymore. And that was it. So then I just took to the airwaves when I finally became a pro. After I graduated Syracuse, I stayed here in Syracuse and got a job in TV, and people call me Manchild. I
will just say this real quick. It's good to know that, Lurch is telling the story about doing updates and, getting ripped apart. I was with a guy on our radio station. I wasn't going to name him, but I'll name him. His name was Mike Lindsley. And, when I was – yeah, right. He's done a lot of connective tissue. I was just about to say, some people won't know him. Some people will know him. He's all over these spaces. And I was his producer. And I was his producer with a couple other people, 2 or 3 other people, and we rotated. And we did these sports updates. And this is my first time ever doing it. I learned for a day from whoever his producer was. His producer got a real TV job. So very quickly they went, "Hey, we're going to show you this for a day, and then it's you." I'm like, "Me?" I'm like, "All right." And then I do an update. I go in there and do it. And I feel pretty good about it. I'm a perfectionist. I try to do a really good job. I hope everyone does. And the update's off. And so for those who don't know, sort of breaking the fourth wall here, you do an update, you come on, you do your update, they pod your mic down, you come off the update, then like an intro plays for a couple minutes or highlights or something. So there's a period of time where the host can talk to you, take off the headset and talk to you immediately about what you just did. Right. And I did that first one. I'm like, Way to go, Paul. Nice job, Paul. Way to go out there. And Mike takes off his headset and he turns to me. He says, "What the fuck was that?" And I go, at first I thought he's ribbing me. So I'm like, good one. And then I see his face is very serious. I'm like, oh no. He's like, "Let me see that thing." And I'm like, "Sure." Here's my cast. Here's my written copy. And he like pulls out a pen and starts going, pow, 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 pow. He's like, "What is this? What is this transition? Why do you even have the story in here? Have you ever heard of stacking? Did you go to school for this?" And I was just like, huppita. And he went, "Hey, why don't you fix this? Try to put some effort in and I'll see you in an hour or two." And then get out. And I got out and I tail tucked between my legs, went to the cubicle, went, "Am I built for this? Aaron Glam, I built for this blank?"
Oh boy.
I hear that.
School of Hard Knocks, man.
Yeah, 100%. So it wasn't just a one-time thing. He would do that for like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And, being in a military family of hard discipline and stuff and where the whip is cracked, I didn't give up. It made me question my entire path in this industry. But, I feel like that tough love and everything got me better. So again, it's good to hear that once, other people have the same scars, they went through the same similar story.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
I mean, but it's probably going to give you a whole bunch of like different types of scars, like you were saying right now, that when you guys were on the radio, because you're going to get it. People are going to say stuff. I mean, we see it all the time with the comments and people saying things and everything. And it's like, it doesn't do anything to any of us at all. Or it's funny as anything. But I want to ask you guys a couple of like two more questions before we start transitioning on over to the, of course, the New York Jets. I mean, it is a Jets podcast, and
of course, yeah.
I want to say to everybody in the chat and everybody that's watching, you guys are watching Jets Worldwide, wide. Please make sure you guys hit the like and hit the sub button. And if you guys want to, and of course you should, and I think you need to, go over here as well. Show them some love too, because they are trying to grow as well. So subscribe to the @MC Show Digital. Again, subscribe to @MC Show Digital. All one word, right? I guess, in the @ sign. I don't know.
It is. Yep.
It wasn't. I didn't spell really well in school, but I want to ask you guys this. I like asking questions in the sense of like, if you could go back in time, right? So if you could go back and give your past selves some advice right after you met, what would it be about teaming up for the radio? Like, what would you tell yourself? And I'm gonna start this off with I gotta go with Lurch. I gotta go with Lurch.
So if I could give myself advice about me and Paul getting together to do radio, is that basically the question?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's an interesting little story. So I tell you, I work with my partner Bud Poliquin for 18 years, and so Bud steps away. And I say to Paul, okay, we're starting together on Monday. Bud, wraps it up on a Friday. Okay, well, come in early Monday. Let's talk about what we're going to do on the show. Do a little pre-production meeting. Yada yada yada.
Paul is turning red, by the way. I just want to let you know that,
because I know where this story is going. But go ahead.
So I say to him, I go, look, I've been doing this 18 years with Bud. Look, it's going to be different, and I'm not even quite sure how this is going to go. Because Bud, you have to remember, my partner Bud Poliquin is, 10 years older than me. He is a guy who's traveled the world. He had one-on-one interviews with Mickey Mantle, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown on his veranda in California, in Hollywood. I mean, he's traveled the world. He's covered 5 or 6 Olympic Games. He's
Super Bowls, Final Fours.
He's a dozen Super Bowls, Final
no big deal.
Yeah, right.
He was, I mean, I have a nice history, but compared to Bud, I'm a laugh. I mean, I'm laughable, in terms of where he's traveled, who he's spoken to, and so always working with Bud. Number one, he's a newspaper guy, so he had no radio skills whatsoever. And number two, I always kind of deferred to him in a lot of ways because it was the right thing to do. I really felt like when I hosted the show with Bud, my job was to make Bud look good. It wasn't about me. It never was about me. As a matter of fact, I found out very, very quickly the only way the show could succeed is if I did everything I could as a competent host to make him look good and to get him to tell all these amazing stories about all these amazing things that he had done in sports. That was going to be the success of the show. It also turned out to be that we very different personality-wise, and we used to, really, really rib each other in a big, big way. Or really, it was mostly me ribbing him. So the show had a very distinct personality, and I had a very distinct role. And now Paul comes into the fold, and now Paul is half my age, okay, at this point. All right. That's changed since then. He's not half my age anymore. The funny thing is that it doubles when you're coming from the other end. It's pretty cool. So I've actually gotten younger somehow in working with Paul.
Congratulations.
Even true. But anyway, so now Paul's in the fold. And I say to Paul on day one, I got an idea here, Paul. I think I'm going to try this. I was like, so Bud's out the door. The dynamic's going to change here a little bit. I can't treat you like I treated Bud because you won't last a week because I used to abuse the crap out of Bud, and Paul wasn't going to like that. Luckily, Bud had the thickest skin of any human being I've ever worked with, which was wonderful. I could say anything to him on the air. We never, in 18 years, Johnny, never had a fight on the air, off the air, anywhere. He never took anything I said about him personally, and literally on the air, I'd be like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is the stupidest opinion ever in the history of mankind. Let me tell you 5 reasons why you shouldn't let that come out of your mouth. Like, I would scream at him, and he never blinked. It was amazing. So now Paul's there. And I say to Paul this first day, Paul, I got an idea. I've sat in this host chair and pushed all the buttons and fired all the commercials and the music beds and everything. I've been the host. I think maybe the way that it works for me and you is I go over to Bud's chair and I sit on the other side and you push all the buttons, and then I become kind of more of Bud's character because I'm the grizzled veteran now, and you're kind of the neophyte. So let's try that. So the first day of the show, Monday morning, that Monday, we do the show that way. And literally for the entire 2 hours that we're doing the show, I am squirming in my seat. I'm so uncomfortable. It must have been written all over my face. I mean, I was out of sorts, just completely out of sorts. And finally the show ends. All right, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Get out of here. Blah, blah, blah. I turn to Paul and I go, Paul, I'm really sorry. I can't do that. I can't last another day in that chair. I'm a host. I don't know how not to be a host. I don't know how not to be the person directing the traffic. I did it for so many years with Bud. I don't know how to do anything else. I'm sorry. Tomorrow I'm back in that chair. We can't do that again. That was the most uncomfortable thing ever in my life. Paul, you could comment on it if you want.
No, that's funny. When Johnny Boy, brought this up like advice or anything like what would I do? What do I do? That's exactly the story I was going to tell from my perspective. So it's hilarious. So I saw him in the chair, and again, the show ends. He just looks to me and says, "Never again." I'm like, "What? Never again." Like, we will never speak of this. This never happened. We're switching back to the original scene.
In a life that never happened. Yeah.
And then forever, he has pressed all the buttons and done all that.
Did that bother you, Paul? Did that bother you? I mean, I never asked you this, so did that bother you that I couldn't sit in that chair? Did you think that it was working that day? I never asked you. I just.
And this is a Jets Worldwide exclusive. Never aired before or anything at all. Okay,
I've never asked him that question.
Yeah. I could read it all over your face that you were uncomfortable the entire time.
Squirming.
It was clear physically. When you say squirming, you think like in your mind, I'm squirming between these two things. He was literally just every break, everything. Like, and I don't know if it was like any mistake I was making, which is possible, right? Having the right level here, there, or breaks or anything. It could have been, but like, no. So like, I could physically see him squirming. I could see him just like as things were happening. Because again, the person that normally is pressing the buttons and sitting in, relatively speaking, this isn't always true. When I was at ESPN Radio, I was the board operator, button presser, but I passed to other people, so I didn't say anything unless it was my thing. I'm just bringing people up and cueing people and going, "You're up, here's soundbite." So like, it's not always the case that the board operator is also literally the host. But in the host chair, you control the button. So I'm potting myself up, getting ready. I'm getting ready to set lurch up. I'm getting ready off of breaks and things. But no, I could sense the entire time that he was incredibly uncomfortable. I I assumed it was from a guy that had sat in that chair for 18 years and it's his second home. He's probably spent more time, quite frankly, at that studio than he has with his family and at home.
I was just going to say, just to jump in for a minute,
Yeah.
I think sometimes, Johnny, when you do something for 18 years, and I was literally sitting in the same studio in the same chair for 18 years, just sitting in a different chair and looking in a different direction and looking at a different wall, honestly really bothered me. Like, I was so comfortable just in that chair, looking in that direction and being able to think and process. And now you move me into a different chair, and now I can't push the buttons, and I can't look at what I would normally look at. It just freaked me out. It was the weirdest thing. I can't even explain it. Can't even explain it.
Boy, Graham, I'm going to have to ask you, right?
Right.
This chair that had him like just, squiggling the whole nine.
Yep.
Did you ever sit in that chair after he was not there?
I did. It's funny. So in our studios, whether it was ESPN or the Score 1260, where we're at most recently before we went full digital, is there? I'm trying to you picture the room here. There's a seat for whoever's pressing the buttons at the board. There's a direct seat across, so you'd be making eye contact with the person in the opposite seat.
Which is
correct. And then there was a third seat that was sort of in the middle of them, but not literally in the middle, like in between their vision, like maybe 2 or 3 feet out. So it's person, and then this person. I always felt more comfortable being in my third seat. And I don't know if this was a literal thing or a mind game thing. When everyone made their decisions, Bud Poliquin wanted to reimagine his life. He doesn't like the word retire. When he wanted to reimagine his life and leave the radio, and then I was set to quote unquote replace him, right? In the paper, Paul Esden replaces Syracuse legend, blah, blah, blah. I knew from the get-go I couldn't replace him. That if Lurch wanted to do the same exact show and I had to fill in the Bud Poliquin role, I would have failed miserably. I have not been through a million Super Bowls. I've not been to these things. And I hoped that some of the things I brought to the table would evolve the show in different ways. For instance, I'm a fantasy football fan. When it was Lurch and Bud, they weren't talking fantasy football. So, that was something I brought to the table that I liked a lot. And I knew Lurch had dabbled in the past, so maybe that could be a way for the show to evolve. So I give Lurch a lot of credit for being willing to adapt, that he didn't try to force square peg into round hole of making me Bud Poliquin. He allowed the show to evolve, and that was fun to me. Fantasy football, obviously a lot of NFL talk. He tried the same thing Lurch just said for Bud. He plays to the strengths. You're the point guard in the seat. He had to just be a point guard with a new team. Lurch just got traded to a new team. And now he had a different guy he was passing the ball to. And if he passed it the same way to Bud Poliquin, he just drilled the popcorn selling guy in the stand. So he had to adjust the speed of the pass. What kind of passes, what kind of plays are we running, and things of that nature. So, no, I did not sit in that seat. I don't think I ever sat in that seat, to be honest with you. Even when, Lurch would be out and I'm hosting the show solo or I have a guest host in, I never sat in that seat. I sat in other seats. So again, was that a mental thing of literally not trying to replace Bud, or that's his sanctuary, that's his shrine over there for everything he's done? I'm not sure if that was a subconscious thing, but no, I never sat in that seat.
So you got JT. That is first and foremost, everybody in the chat, guys, thank you so much for coming on. But JT says it makes tons of sense. Whenever I accept a new position at a job and I'm in a different room or side of the room, it just feels weird. Yeah, completely. And to everybody that's watching right now, is Jets Worldwide. Thank you guys for watching the show. Please make sure you guys hit the like and hit the sub. And again, we are going to take calls. We're going to get into it in a moment. But as of right now, I am learning a lot about Boyd Green and a lot about Lurch. And I do have to ask this. So we do have a question from our guy, Dano. And I mean, can I get in the gang? I mean, we're talking about nicknames, right? Lurch. For you, which name would you Don Johnny Boy with?
Oh, that's a good one. I got to get to know you a little bit better, I don't just throw out a nickname just because of the way a person looks or what they wear. It always, to me, when I come up with a nickname, it's attached to something unique about the person. I mean, think of the kids in your neighborhoods. I mean, I grew up in a neighborhood in Queens.
Same.
I could roll into my New York accent if you want. You know exactly where I came from. I just go right back into New York, and it's exactly the way I sounded when I was down there. And this is the way my family talks to me. It's just unbelievable how I can just go right back into my New York accent. But now I've been in Central New York longer than I've been in New York, and so I don't have that accent anymore. Only on a few words here or there. But yeah, so I have to get to know somebody before I can bestow a nickname on them. So Johnny, I'll be happy to give you a nickname, but we got to get to know each other a little bit better because I just don't want to give you a nickname just in a flippant way. It should fit, the shoe needs to fit.
And I would say this, that the thing I like about Lurch is he takes great pride in these nicknames. Like the thing that he told me about is the nickname we bestow upon you, you're stuck with for life. And I'm like, well, I'm glad he doesn't like look me over for 3 seconds, goes, you're one of these. And I'm like, geez. Okay, here we go.
Okay,
I don't know.
Hey, Pike
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't know. Did it take him 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month? I'm not sure how long it took him to come up with the nickname that ultimately. Let's see. There you go. That he bestowed me. Now I'll tell you, we've had, no intern is definitely watching the show. We've nicknamed interns before. There's Robot Rick out there in the universe. That's one I will never forget. We had I was with the show for like 11 years if you count the internship. 11 years, and then we've now gone into the digital space. And one of my made up titles I gave myself is like internship coordinator. We had hundreds of interns from 2015 through, I guess it technically is 2025, right? Because we retired or whatever in the last summer. So yeah, right, yeah, reimagined a decade of that life, and we had hundreds of interns during that time. And man, I worked with interns every single day, 2 or 3 interns every single day, and oh my, we need a separate podcast that I can just go. We got to put it like on a membership level or something where I can just unload on internship stories because boy, do I got stories to tell on some of the people that came through.
Well, my understanding on the 28th, I think if you are part of the Espresso Club itself, there will be some exclusive meeting that, you might have to give up some blood there, right? I don't know. You might do some weird stuff, but.
Well, let me say this real quick, because Johnny, you were on that, of course, and thank you and Snowball for the support. I did create a new YouTube membership group, and I was it's the same way I just said, Lurch takes a lot of pride in coming up with nicknames. Something I take a lot of pride in and really think about things before I do it is like, if I ever charge money or attempt, like, people could say no, but like that I offer a thing that is worth money. To me, I really have to believe in it, and it really has to be something or I don't want to do it. And I've had the $2.99 Boy Green Coffee Club thing forever. I wanted it affordable. I wanted it available to anyone in the universe that, if you could find $3 in your couch cushion and you halfway thought the show was decent and you wanted to support that way, that'd be a cool way. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, how can I give back? And we've done a few, I was about to say a few. We've done one tailgate together, Johnny, where you were at it. That was a couple of years ago. So we'll have to have you back for the one we're going to be doing this year. And that experience was awesome. We all went out to breakfast, Johnny Boy, after the Jets game the next day at a diner. We all just hung out and we broke bread and we talked Jets, we talked family. I said, man, can I bottle that up? And that's how the whole Espresso Club idea came. So on my YouTube channel, there are 2 membership levels: Boy Green Coffee Club, $2.99. And now, shout out to Terrence for coming up with the name. They, the people always come up with the names. They named it the Boy Green Espresso Club. And every month, at the end of the month, it'll be coming up on the 28th. So we're 8 days away. We're doing a private show that's only for the Espresso Club members, which we have just around 20 members in. And I had no idea how long the show was going to go. When my fiance came by the first time I decided to do it at the end of January, she said, how long is the show going to be? I'm like, no idea. Could be the longest show of all time or the shortest. 4.5 hours later, and we talked about crime drama. We talked about ranking callers that call into the show, ones that we love, hate. That was juicy. That was hilarious. Jet stuff. I mean, we just covered everything. And it lived beyond my expectations of whatever I thought that meeting was going to be. Was it just going to be me talking and people weren't going to want to call in? They just wanted to hit up the private comment section that only they can engage with. I thought maybe that's possible. And I'm just hosting a show. Maybe people would call in and then other people would see other people calling in. It's sort of a rave mentality. Well, they're calling in, I'm calling in, you're calling in. So yes, I'm glad T-Smooth is in here in the chat. And that was cool. So it was 4 bleeping hours. So I can't wait to see what the 28th brings. It's cool once a month, and it's cool for the fans. And I'm glad so many people have resonated with it. And it gives people an opportunity. Johnny, you met one of the people in there, Jet71. He is a West Coast listener of the show.
Shout out
It
to
is
Jet 31.
4:30. Yeah, it's 4:30 in the morning when he's tuning into these shows. The nighttime espresso club meeting gave him a chance to interact in a way he never has, and he called in for the first time ever. And he was really jazzed about the idea. And I'm like, great. I'm glad that it hit for so many people. So hopefully it's opened up a lot of opportunities for other people. And hell, more people join the Boy Green Espresso Club and join the next meeting. It'll be on the 28th.
Hey Lurch, I have to I'm gonna have to, guys, since we've been talking about the nicknames, how you guys met, and then before I transition on over to some Jets talk, because I know that's what everybody wants to talk. Everybody's foaming at the mouth, ready to talk some Gang Green. The nickname Johnny Boy, right? So very similar to you, Lurch. Like I grew up around the neighborhood, right? So, but I was always with my pops, and my pops was an athlete. My father played sports, right? So I was always with him. And that's why I love sports. And everybody used to be like, hey, that's Johnny's boy, right? Oh, look, that's Johnny's boy, or Johnny Chiquito in Espanol in Spanish, right? Which means little Johnny. So Johnny's boy. That nickname, people would hear it. Oh, that's Johnny's boy. That's Johnny's boy. That's Johnny's boy. Then all of my friends growing up, right, started calling me Johnny Boy.
Right.
And the name has stuck since. So this name has been Johnny Boy forever. And I mean, if anybody knows the name Johnny Boy, especially around in the Queens area, right? If you know what I'm talking about, it has a little bit of some significance towards it too. So I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool. Like having this little, Johnny Boy and the ties that it has and everything. But my father's name is Johnny. And they say, hey, that's Johnny Boy. So that's how
I don't think I've ever heard that story. So Johnny, thanks for sharing it. And now you did when you develop a nickname and it's synonymous, you jump in other YouTube chats. If other people are talking about Johnny Boy, we all know who they're talking about. It's you. Or Boy
now,
Green,
what is your first name? Is your first name also Johnny or not?
It's
John
Johnny. Yep,
okay, you are John Jr. Okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that would have been worse, right? His name's Steve and
Yeah,
he's Johnny Boy. Yeah, that'd be very confusing.
Could be though. I mean, that can happen.
I mean, possible, sure.
Based on the genesis of that name, it could have been
100%. Well, as everybody knows, this is a Jets podcast. We talk all Jets here, 24/7. People ask, Boy Green, how do you get so much content every single day? Because we're the New York Jets, and it's what happens when you're in the New York market, and it's a market that is constant. We want it as of yesterday. So everybody watching, this is Jets Worldwide, wide. Please make sure you guys hit the sub, hit the like, and go show love to our guy at MC Show Digital, as well as Boy Green Daily, 7:30 a.m. every single time, clockwork. Okay, if it's 7:29 and I don't hear that the drums that start popping on there, something's wrong. Like I'm like, what's going on? But let's get into it. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now with the New York Jets. The Jets right now is 10 years of losing seasons, 15 years no playoffs. People were saying, fire this guy, fire that guy. You know what? I'm just gonna fire 9 people and say the hell with it, right? And let's just start all over. But to get some people that start coming in. But one of the blaring needs that I still feel like is quarterback, right? And I mean, the Jets are having a glaring need at quarterback, especially after the cycle of all 3 starters in 2025. So let me ask you this, Lurch, right? Do you see them targeting a veteran bridge option like a Kirk Cousins? Even this name, Daniel Jones, ties with you, right? Of course. Malik Willis to potentially stabilize the entire solution that needs to happen with them. I mean, or is it drafting a rookie quarterback at their number 2 pick? What should we do?
They have to do the bridge thing. I mean, whether they draft a quarterback in this draft, which obviously they should take a swing. Now, how early you want to take a swing really is the question. But they have to take. If Aaron Glenn wants to keep his job, he has to put a quarterback on the field, and he's not going to get that in the draft unless they make a trade for Mendoza. So they have to, or a guy that's ready at least at this point. So they have to get a veteran guy. We've talked a lot about this, Paul and I, and taken a lot of questions on it over the last month or so. I keep jumping all over the place. Who is the best guy? To me, there's 2 options that I kind of like. the first option I like is Kirk Cousins. And I just like him because I just think he really showed something that he hasn't totally lost it at the end of last year. The Jets have a good offensive line, so I think they can protect him, and he can get the ball down the field. So if they draft another good receiver, perhaps in this draft, and then they already have Garrett Wilson, and they get their running back in order, they're going to keep Breece Hall, I would think, on the franchise tag. Then he's going to have some weapons, and that's going to help move the offense. And maybe that offense is going to be really, really seriously better than it was last year with the hodgepodge of disaster that they tried to roll out there at quarterback last year. The other option would be Jacoby Brissett, just because of incredible familiarity with Frank Reich, and they get a guy that they could just plug into a system, and then he'd be the guy potentially to bridge. And I was actually, to be honest with you, really shocked at how well he played this past NFL season. I mean, I was like, Jacoby Brissett, really? And then I watched him play, and I was like, this guy can play. Wow, in the right system. Again, he showed incredible promise. So he'd be another potential bridge. So to me, I hope for the Jets it's one of those two guys, because I don't love the other options. Kyler Murray, I just don't know. I just don't think he cares about football enough. And I don't know. Some of the other options I don't love either.
Well, I got Oscar that comes in and says to you, I mean, what about James Winston? I mean,
Giants aren't going to part with him.
You think he shakes free?
No, I don't. And the Giants will keep him. They have him on a great contract, so he's definitely with them for at least another year. And if he proves to be a competent backup this coming year, then they'll probably try and keep him for another couple of years. And he seems to really like New York and like the Giants. So far, so good with Jameis. I love him as a backup. I'm glad the Giants finally went out and got a competent backup.
BG, let me ask you this. I mean, you were kind of talking about it a few shows ago, right? And it was in regards of somebody it was a New York Jet, right? It's a free agent right now. It's a pending free agent. But I want to talk about it with Tyrod Taylor as the current pending free agent. Do you have any interest in re-signing him? And how aggressive should the Jets be in pursuing other experienced backups, potentially like a Marcus Mariota, to mentor a young quarterback if we end up picking up a Drew Allar, Nussmeier, one of these guys that could potentially be there, right? Or even like a Carson Wentz. So your thoughts?
Yeah, before I answer that, I just want to go to Lurch's point here. And I think this is going to be the disappointing thing, or a difficult thing to swallow, a difficult thing to speak to their priest about, is that people are going to throw out names like Jameis Winston. People are going to throw out names like Jacoby Brissett. People are going to throw out names of popular backup quarterbacks, say, yeah, baby, there's the solution. And then the other teams, the Giants, the Cardinals, are like, what? Why would I give up my backup quarterback that, look at the San Francisco 49ers, right? Brock Purdy gets hurt. They happen to have Mac Jones. If they didn't have Mac Jones, the 49ers don't make the playoffs. They would have had Adrian Martinez, with all due respect to Jets Nation here. I'm so sorry. I don't believe Adrian Martinez would have had the same impact as Mac Jones. So I think that's a constant reminder to everyone in the league how important a backup quarterback is. So unless the Jets overpay the Giants or the 49ers, I just brought up Mac Jones, or some of these guys out there, I think it is going to be difficult to pry some of these quality backups away. Now, there are exceptions. Again, Tanner McKee is in the last year of his deal. The Eagles have paid Jalen Hurts $250 million. They are behooved to move Tanner McKee to someone as opposed to losing him for nothing. So like in that case, it's unique. The 49ers, every year, they think they can win the Super Bowl. So maybe even holding on to Mac Jones makes sense for them as opposed to a third-round pick. They're like, we're great. We probably don't need the third-round pick. We're good. So they may decide to keep him. So just to answer sort of that overall thing, I would agree with Lurch. I was going to jump right in. I would love Jameis Winston. He ain't available. He ain't coming. If he's available, the Giants are crazy. And especially the way that Jackson, with all due respect to Lurch, with how Jackson Dart has played with this reckless abandon, you need a quality backup because if he's a human battering ram out there, who are they going to go to? Tommy DeVito ain't there anymore. I don't even know who the QB3 is right now for the Giants. Russell Wilson's about to be a free agent, and that's sort of the point. So I think, unfortunately, that makes it even more. This is an offseason where there's not a lot of great quarterback names.
No.
That fun fact I just shared that Lurch was talking about with Winston is another reason it's going to be even more difficult to pry one of these names. But to answer your question about Tyrod Taylor, again, Tyrod, just as he is, with all due respect, I'm ready to move on. He's made of glass. He seems like a great teammate by all accounts, and that's why he's lasted for so long. I think that's part of it. Part of it is, of course, you need to know how to play the position. But the other part of it is not being a jerk, right?
Yeah.
That teams want you as a backup. Anyone can hold the clipboard. You need the right guy that has the right mentality, that embraces that role. And when his number is called upon, he steps up. And when his number is no longer called upon, he quietly goes in the background and is a professional quarterback. And I think Tyrod's done that for a long time. He is the how-to guide of how to last in the league for 20 years and make a lot of money doing it. And he deserves a lot of love. And so I don't want him back. The one part that makes me want him back, he joined Jake Asman at the Super Bowl, and
Hit the heart.
He did. The heart, the plucking of heartstrings, the thing that's going to get me is at the end of the interview, Jake turns to Tyrod and says, well, you're a free agent. Like, basically, do you want to come back? Great question by Jake. You have to ask that question of these free agents. Sometimes they say something, sometimes they don't. And Tyrod talked about, I've been a part of a turnaround before. He didn't mention the team, but he's talked about the Buffalo Bills, who had a 17-year playoff draft. He said, I was a part of one of those turnarounds, and I want to be a part of one again. And that, I'm like, oh, come on. The Jets are in a 15-year playoff draft. It's not even as long as the Bills, and he wants to be a part of this. I love when people want to be a part of something that's not so obvious that you should want to be a part of. So that plucks my heartstrings. So if they bring him back as a QB3 and he's battling it out with whoever is QB2, okay. If he is to be signed as the unquestioned QB2, for those reasons, I'm out. I just injuries, old, no sir.
And I mean, Tyrod, man, like, or Tyrod, depending on how, you're feeling this morning, this afternoon, this night, whatever time you guys are watching this. Dude, he's loved out here in Virginia. He is loved out here in Virginia. He's doing so much right now for the University of Hampton. Every single moment I see, there's something being talked about him, right? If you guys like hip hop like I do, right? The Clips just had a brand new album that just came out. And they made a music video that was in Virginia. It was shot. And they had Tyrod Day, right? Do you know what jersey he had Tyrod wearing and his father wearing, or his uncle, I think, was there? It was gangrene, New York Jets. He could have picked, like, maybe the Hampton Roads or Hampton Universities, like the Pirates, their jersey or something to that nature itself. No, he picked the New York Jets, man. So it's one of those where it's like, yeah, he plucks at those heartstrings, and you're just like, I would love for him to be in some capacity, right, doing something with the organization, with the New York Jets, so maybe an assistant to the quarterback coach or something like that he could still give you some of that knowledge, because you don't last this long in the NFL if you don't have it up here as well. So, but let me ask you this, Lurch. I want to ask you a little bit question in regards to the running back situation. Breece Hall is one of the Jets' top pending free agents. He's super dynamic. Should the Jets re-sign him to a multi-year deal, or are you looking at alternatives at the current moment, like your Travis Etienne Jr., your Kenneth Walker, your Najee Harris, if he ends up walking? And what does that say about Muji if he just lets him walk?
Well, number one, they're not going to let him walk, because if they're going to do that, they would have traded him at the deadline. Although I think the offer was ridiculous. A fourth rounder. Come on. The guy was drafted in the second round, and he's even proven that he can be better than that given the right circumstances. I also like kind of his heart. He came back from a very, very serious injury and started to look like a guy who had that burst when he came into the league. So I still like him a lot. I think the Jets will absolutely, if they don't sign him to a deal, and I personally, if I were the Jets, I would. But I understand the circumstances they're in at the moment, without a quarterback, with a lot of other needs. But they have the upper hand here with the franchise tag, and so they have to give him one of the two tags for sure. If they don't sign him to the deal. So he's staying a Jet. They're not letting him go. The Jets have made mistakes in the past. They're not going to make a mistake on this guy.
Thank goodness. Let me ask you this, right? So I'm offense, I think, for this draft. I think I've set myself, I think my mind is on offense, right? They're saying that probably the best offensive player in this draft is a running back, and it is Notre Dame's running back in Love, right? You saw the dynamic that occurred over there in Detroit. this might sound crazy, and I know it's going to be nuts, but I'm just putting out there because, I mean, part of being Johnny Boy is you just like saying some off the wall stuff that's going to get a lot of people wondering things. But get Love at 2, you tag Brees, see what happens, and you got a two-headed monster in the backfield. Is that something that could be talked about? And I mean, what would the New York media think of that? Like, does that excite you as a Jets fan to potentially have your two-headed monster in the back? Could you imagine Brees Hall, this kid Love in the back? Thoughts on that, Lurch?
Well, the player, Love, is phenomenal. I've talked a little bit about the Giants should pick him at number 5. Because I love Cam Scatterboo, but I don't really think he's ultimately a number 1 in the NFL. I just, I know he had a great season last year and he's got a lot of guts. I love him as a change-up guy and a different kind of guy. I don't like him as my number 1 starting guy, especially the way he runs. He's a lunatic. I mean, he's just not going to last. His body isn't big enough to run that way. So I love Jeremiah Love, but number 2 is too high. The Jets would have to trade down if they want to take Jeremiah Love, because it's too much to do that. And they're going to keep Brees, so they have a running back. So they're just not in a position where they have to do that. And they have too many other needs. So, I mean, I love him as a player. And I know it's fun to dream about stuff like that, Johnny. I do that a lot where I'm like, yeah, I know we got a guy in that position, but why not have 2 guys? I like that. But in the NFL, it is so important to cover your bases in every position on the field because every position is so critical. It is the ultimate team sport. So as much as you can dream about Jeremiah Love, unless the Jets drop down in the draft, there's no way they're taking.
And I just feel like a lot of it right now is you could do that right now because a lot of this is really speculation until free agency comes by. I mean, the combine is, I think, next week, if I'm not mistaken, where, you're going to see a lot of these players there. There are going to be a lot of different positions that you're going to want to see, right? Who are some of the guys that are going to be in the later rounds that you could potentially pick up and take and kind of go from there? But I want to ask Boy Green, and I saved this question for Boy Green because he's been pretty vocal.
Whoa. Is this a different topic?
Oh, it's going to be a different topic.
Oh, well, then park that. How can I not sink my teeth into this Brees Hall and Jeremiah Love thing? You were trying to ostracize me from the conversation. You're trying to throw me in another hallway here.
I just feel like because when I talk about this next conversation, you might just say, for some reason, my internet's not working anymore.
Oh,
and it's just going to see a black screen out of nowhere. But
well, I'll just say this real quick. I won't go too long, but I'll just say this. Again, in Madden, Jeremiah Love and Brees Hall, I mean, that sounds freaking crazy cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. Come on. Jeremiah Love is a human highlight reel. And Brees Hall, admittingly, I've gone back and forth on. On one hand, I see the mopiness. I see the social media activity of tweeting things out, deleting them. And he's just, I don't want to sound like an old man on the porch because, hey, so I use social media all the time for my jobs and all my social media I have to do for all the different things I'm a part of. So, every player is allowed to do whatever social media they want to do. That's up to them. But that's all sort of part of the package. And I just feel like resource allocation is very important. And to invest a franchise tag minimum, Brees Hall, which would make him a top 5 highest paid running back, at least for this season. Jeremiah Love, you're either taking him at 2 or let's go to Lurch's point, right? You're able to trade back a little bit, but still get him. So let's call him a top 10 pick to be safe. He's somewhere there in the top 10. A top 10 pick, and you have a top 5 highest paid running back in football. That's bold. Now, the reason why it's even remotely possible is that Aaron Glenn wants to pound the football. He said you'll see our identity on the football field when we see it. And I watched all 17 games last year. I have no idea what the hell the identity was supposed to be. But if that was what he wanted the identity to be, getting Jeremiah Love and Brees Hall in theory on paper would make a lot of sense. I just think it's sort of nuts. I think it's one or the other. I think you can tag Brees Hall, and again, I agree with Lurch. I've yelled about this. I'm tagging Brees Hall no matter what. And we could talk about trading him. We could talk about keeping him, but I'm tagging him so I hold the control. And if you tag and trade him and then make an aggressive move for Jeremiah Love, you can make a lot of sense about that possible path. But to be honest, I think if you're trying to find that second guy to, let's say you tag and trade Brees Hall and you have Jeremiah Love, his other teammate. What if you just took both Notre Dame running backs? Jadarian Price, he's used to being the RB2 to Jeremiah Love. Why don't you take both? Or go to free agency. Apparently, the Lions are interested in trading David Montgomery. Aaron Glenn is quite familiar with David Montgomery. What about that? He's literally the smash and dash to either Brees or if it's Jeremiah Love. So I think there's going to be plenty of running back options out there to pair with either Brees or potentially Jeremiah Love. But no, how could I not sink my teeth into that when you throw that one over to Lurch? And well, what am I getting over here? But go ahead. What's your other question?
All right,
Johnny boy. Up there's Johnny's boy. All right, Johnny boy, what do you have?
So let me ask you this, right? Garrett Wilson. Let's get into this conversation, right?
Okay.
There's a big thing going on right now where people are saying, hey, Garrett Wilson's on the trade block and they're going to give you a sauce type of package again, right? 2 1s and another player. Would you do it?
I'll go through a tunnel. See it.
Especially now after, Frank Reich coming out and talking about the usage and how special Garrett Wilson's going to be in this offense itself. I mean, do you take it or do you still keep Garrett Wilson and continue to keep growing with him?
I know what you're trying to do with me, Johnny boy. You're trying to gaslight me. You're trying to light me up. You're trying to get me to yell and go all over the place. And I'm a calm guy. I don't like to yell. I don't like to get all crazy. But that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Anyone who says trading Garrett Wilson and Alon is part of that insane mob out there in the universe are silly. Garrett Wilson is a transcendent player for the New York Jets. When the ship is a-rocking, we're out in the waters, it's stormy, it's choppy, and we're looking at each other, and we're like, all right, boys, we're either going to stay on this boat and try to save it, or we're going to dive off and be selfish and save ourselves. We look around, and every once in a while, I got to look at someone on the boat and say, you're my guy. We're gonna ride or die with this. Garrett Wilson is one of the first people on this boat that I am choosing to ride or die with. We're either going down together or we're going to ride to salvation. I am not getting rid of Garrett Wilson. I've heard the slander in the streets. He's a 1B receiver. He's a wide receiver 3 was mentioned on my show. Disgusting. He's outside the top 20 receivers. You people are sick. You people are nuts. Okay. The Jets haven't had a quarterback, obviously, in like ever, but specifically like the last 15 years, they've had terrible quarterback play. Despite that, Garrett Wilson, through his first 3 seasons in the NFL, 80 plus catches, 1,000 yards every year. Last year, of course, that streak unfortunately was broken. He missed 10 games, the first 10 games missed of his career. If you get Garrett Wilson a competent quarterback, which, by the way, I believe could happen this offseason, all these options were all like, oh, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, this guy. It's not great, but quite frankly, it's a significant upgrade over Brady Cook. So there is a chance if you get the right veteran quarterback in here that he can let Garrett Wilson eat, and we could see Garrett Wilson this way. I was excited to read Dan Pompei's piece for The Athletic. He did a sit-down interview with Frank Reich. Frank Reich is drooling over how he's going to use Garrett Wilson at the X, the Z, the F, all over the formation to get him open. I think Garrett Wilson would be Jamar Chase. He would be Justin Jefferson if he had better quarterback play. He doesn't. So it is what it is. So you have to judge him for what he's been able to deliver, but you can't just trade everyone. At a certain point, draft picks are draft picks or lottery picks. You want me to throw a couple of names out there? Someone's like, ooh, 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years. Have you heard of Darren Lee? Have you heard of Louisville slugger Calvin Pryor? Have you heard of Kyle Wilson? Have you heard of, Vernon
Eric
Golston,
Flowers.
for God's sakes? So sure, let's go Giants, right? Eric Flowers, Evan Neal. Okay.
Darius Stewart.
Yeah,
You remember that
he was a third
2017 class that came out?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, sure. There was a 3rd round pick, but that's what I'm saying though. 1st round pick to us right now. Ooh, that's a mystery box. It could be anything. It could be a halfway decent player, and it also could be trash. It could be nothing. It could be zip and pip. Garrett Wilson, I know what he is. You want to know what he is? He's the most productive Jets wide receiver in history. There's never been a receiver that's put up as much production as Garrett Wilson has through his first 3 seasons. Obviously, now he's heading into year 5 because he just completed year 4 last year. In history, the Jets have been. It's your song. We started at the Titans, so we go to the Jets. That whole song, 1960, 1962 with their Titans, and they became the Jets in 1963, and they've been the godforsaken Jets for all this time. Since the birth of this franchise. Garrett Wilson has put up more numbers than anyone else in history. So to me, that's a guy I want to keep. I will die on that hill. So be it. If I'm Jon Snow and I'm pulling out the sword against the entire army coming my way, so be it. I will start slitting throats and cutting people down like nobody's business. Garrett Wilson is the man, and I'm not trading him for anything. I don't give a flying hoot what the trade package is. I heard the Bills, apparently, Benjamin Albright, NFL information broker, he joined me on the show post-deadline, and he told me, hey, did you know the Buffalo Bills called the Jets at the trade deadline? And I said, how disrespectful that the Bills called us and said, hey, is that Garrett Wilson guy available? By the way, if he is available, he sure as hell ain't going to you. Are you kidding me? I can't believe the Bills made that call. That makes me infuriated.
Let me ask you this, right? Those numbers that you're talking about that Garrett Wilson broke and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Those numbers, right?
Sure.
Are there like Jet standard numbers?
Sure. You could totally say that.
Okay.
But two things can be true, Johnny boy. Okay. Let's hit him with that quick backpedal. But those Jets numbers, they're good, but are they good league-wide? How about this? There have been 5 receivers in NFL history. 5 that have started their first 3 years with 80 catches and over 1,000 yards. 5 in history. Yeah, that's a pretty small fraternity. Let's see the names of that list. Oh, yeah. Justin Jefferson. Okay. Odell Beckham Jr. with Lurch's Giants. He made the list. Michael Thomas Jr. of the New Orleans Saints. Jamar Chase and Garrett Wilson. That's the list. Are those just Jet numbers, Johnny boy? I should play devil's advocate over there? Hell no. That's elite NFL franchise number. Garrett Wilson is quarterback proof. He has shown that he is a floor, even if he has crappy quarterbacks. What I and every Jet fan wants to know, I hope that me and you, Johnny boy, aren't at a barn 20 years ago. If that Garrett Wilson guy would have had a quarterback. If we're saying that, geez, Aloo. I don't want to know what the last 20 years were. I hope that we're having, thank God, another brewski for me and Johnny boy. I can't believe they finally got that quarterback for him in year 5. That's what I'm hoping the conversation is, so we can see it. I don't want to have a what if conversation. What could he have been if we got this quarterback? Let's see it. And if I'm wrong, so be it. I will meet you guys at the altars and the statues and the everything and the ritual animal sacrifice and whatever else you guys want. If Garrett Wilson stinks with the superstar quarterback, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Hey, Lurch, so you know what button now to push for Boy Green, right?
No.
So anytime you're on the show, you just talk about Garrett Wilson, talking about trading him. That's all it takes.
I pretty much agree with him, though. I mean, it'd be crazy to let him go. He's a terrific receiver. I would die to have him on my team. He's a very good player. He's been with the tools around him and the quarterback situation around him. It's remarkable he's actually put up the numbers he's put up, and he deserves to have a good quarterback. And hopefully the Jets figure that out. He's a terrific player. I wouldn't let him go for anything. No way.
So let me ask you this then, Lurch. Right, the defense itself right now. I mean, edge rusher, defensive line. I mean, you can name pretty much any hole that you would like right now in the defensive line. But I'm going to talk a little bit about this, okay? This one sucks to talk about. But the Jets defense pretty much ranked dead last in takeaways, which they did. They need help in pass rush. Would a Trey Hendrickson or a Khalil Mack be ideal fits for Aaron Glenn's scheme, which I really don't know what his scheme is yet. I'm trying to figure out what the scheme is going to be. Or should they look at younger options, right? You got Jalen Phillips from Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken. It's a free agent right now. And the kid from the Chargers, Adefe Awi, to potentially build long-term. They are guys that fit the Trey Hendrickson type of mold that will give those rotational pieces for you. Do you think we should go younger or get a guy that's proven like a Trey Hendrickson?
Well, what distresses me about the Jets is that when Robert Saleh took over the team, how many years ago is that, BG?
2021.
2021. That's just 5 years ago. I was like, wow, this team is really putting a good defense together, man. They're starting to really look good. The Jets are going to be tough on that side of the ball, man. If they get it together on the other side, look out. This team actually might be a team worth watching every week. And it's amazing to be just 5 years down the road, and it's like every position is a position of need. And you're asking me this very question about what should I do? I need him here, I need a guy over there, I need a guy over here. That's the mind-boggling thing about it to me. I actually like the idea of someone like a Khalil Mack or a Trey Hendrickson. Now, I don't know. Hendrickson's going to cost. You could probably get Mack cheaper, and a lot of people think, okay, he is on the back end. There's no question, but he's still a very productive player. And the Jets do need, by the way, some veteran leaders to be around these young guys that they're going to draft. And I would expect in these first 4 picks of the NFL draft, if they don't end up wasting any of them on a quarterback, which is possible, all right, that they really focus on defense, that 3, if not all 4 of those picks could potentially be defensive guys. And so now you've got this young defensive core, if you've chosen wisely, and you definitely need somebody to kind of lead them and to be the guy that teaches them how to be a pro and so on and so forth. So Khalil Mack would be a really interesting guy with the Jets. And I don't think he'd be like crazy money kind of thing. Hendrickson's going to desire some big bucks. So I don't know if the Jets are ready for that right now, considering, again, all the things that they have to do. But Boy Green knows, I mean, they have more cap space than just about anybody. So they do have the money if they want to spend it.
Let's channel the movie El Dorado, where they look at each other. Both. I would like old and new. The Jets have the number 2 overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Matt Miller joined the Jets' brand new draft show. It's called Onboarding, very on brand for a plane and Jets and all that. Great new Jets draft show. And Matt Miller told Eric Allen, Jets senior reporter, that he believes at this point the number 2 overall pick is down to 3 players in no particular order. Ohio State's Arvell Reese, Texas Tech's David Bailey, or you have Reuben Bain out of Miami. And it's going to be one of those 3. And Matt Miller said the fun thing for Jet fans trying to figure out which of those 3 is the guy, because there are different flavors of pass rusher of trying to figure out what it is. So it seems like we're getting one right there unless there's a trade, and there doesn't seem to be an immediate screaming of a trade. Unless Fernando's on the board, the Jets would take them themselves. So there doesn't seem to be a player that's going to command this crazy interest to move up and give up crazy assets. So you're going to get one of those front 7 guys there. And then you go to free agency, and you mentioned the flavors. I just wrote a piece about it earlier this evening about the good news for Jet fans ahead of free agency is that the strongest positional unit that's set to be available in free agency, according to Ben Solak of ESPN, is pass rusher. And there are Trey Hendricksons, there's Khalil Mack, there's older guys, there's younger guys. Odafe Owe, who's the former Baltimore Raven that was traded to the LA Chargers. He's a young guy. What about Jalen Phillips? He was traded at the deadline. Former Miami Dolphin, now Philadelphia Eagle. Maybe he enters the mix for the New York Jets. What if he goes super young? Give me this guy, Arnold Ebiketie, who got buried on the Atlanta Falcons depth chart a couple of years ago. Now, maybe with their current James Pierce situation, which that's a different show for a different time with his off-the-field concerns. Maybe Arnold Ebiketie ends up staying there in Atlanta. So there are young, there are veteran. If I'm the Jets, I probably try to get a guy that I think has that floor of a pass rusher that can add it. Everyone knows the stat. Jets are getting dunked on everywhere. Oh, they didn't have a pick last year. First team in NFL history without a pick. I love it when Jets are making history every year that people can make fun of us for on every national television show. Thanks, Jets. But I think the sneaky hidden stat with that is that the Jets were 31st in sack production last year. They had 26 sacks. That was 31st in the league. No pass rush means quarterbacks have all day to throw back there. Well, of course they didn't throw picks. They were just la, 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 la. Oh, that guy looks up and la, 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 la. Oh, maybe this guy. So to have a pass rush, the quarterback's internal clock speeds up. Oh, my God, I got to get rid of this ball. Bad pass, corner's like, sweet, thanks, intercepted, and you go to the house. So I think pass rush is the number 1 need for the New York Jets this offseason. Normally when you're at a party, as we saw in Seinfeld, a lot of people are not a fan of the double dip on the chip. Again, not normally an advocate for the double dip, but in this particular case of pass rush, I do a little dip on the draft, a little dip in free agency, maybe some trade action, maybe the rare triple dip. Trip dip could happen there. That could be possible.
Listen, Timmy, if I want to dip twice, I will. I love that.
That's a great scene. Great scene.
I say all of this because it's like in free agency, there's a lot of players that are out there, and it's not being talked about enough. I think a lot of, at least in our fan base itself, we're kind of skipping, right, free agency, and we're trying to put all of our freaking eggs into the one basket, which is the NFL draft, because we can't pay for this, we can't pay for that, we can't pay for this. Oh, it's about the future and all of that. But you're getting guys that are potentially super young. They're already proven. I've always said guys that are coming out of the draft, it's a roll of the dice. You do not know what happened, because for some reason, I feel like a lot of the players that we've drafted within in the first round itself have not been good for us. So if you got a proven player, let's name some players out there. You got your Quay Walker, right? if you want to go safety, you got to Reed Blankenship out there. The kid
Sure.
Kobe Bryant. I mean, you got a N'Kobe Dean. You got a Devin Lloyd. We could keep going. We named already, right? Some of the other players. I mean, the Phillips conversation.
What?
So there's a lot that's out there, and it's just not being talked about. Let's talk about corner, right? If you want to go to corner, you could potentially look at an Asante Samuel because he looked okay when he started for the Steelers. I think those last 5 games, if I'm not mistaken, and everybody was worried about that. He's a free agent who's out there. You got your Reek Woolen, right?
What?
At one point, everybody was between Sauce and him, and if anything, if I see Aaron Glenn pick up a safety, I'm trusting that pick, right?
Sure.
Because look what he did with Stevens.
Yep.
Everybody was going off on Stevens. Stevens was, oh, look at this and all that. He ended up being the better corner that we had. Unfortunately, we did have a lot of injuries that was to our secondary. AZ Thomas, even Stiggers, right? Brownlee.
Jarvis Brownlee, yeah.
Yeah, we started going into guys that were like at
Jasir Taylor, right? Yeah,
name some of these names that I'm just like, do you know who these people are? Because I've never heard of them, But again, free agency, and that's why I'm glad that you guys are on here because the draft conversation is cool and everything, but I wanted to talk more about free agency and potentially what you could do because Lurch said it a little bit earlier. Look what the Patriots did last year, right? The Patriots literally bought a lot of their players,
100%.
a lot of the money that they had on here. So
Spent
why
more than
not
any team in the NFL?
Yeah, over $200 million in guaranteed money.
Why not do something potentially like that? And they're gonna have, and there's a lot of guys that are falling off of that team that are gonna be there for us this year. So
AG's ass is on the line, right? He is as motivated as ever to spend the money. If he spends the money and he gets fired, he's like, who cares? I'm not here next year for the money. So he should be more willy-nilly aggressive than anyone for that matter, let alone the fact that obviously they were 3-14 and they obviously desperately need help all over the place. Yes, they should be incredibly aggressive.
Would Woody let him spend the money, Paul?
So from what Connor Hughes reported, Woody has given the quote green light to Aaron Glenn.
That's good to hear.
To relatively speaking, he didn't use this. He gave the green light an aggressive term, but what I'm going to say is willy nilly, burning a hole in your pocket, all these things. It seems like by all accounts, Woody Johnson has given the green light for the Jets to be aggressive and to utilize all the resources that they have available.
Okay.
Lurch, there's a question that we have from the chat itself, and this is a question that's directly to you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's from Dano. Dano states, would the New York Giants abort the development of Dart in order to get another Manning? And if so, how will Dart need to play to keep them from drafting Eli's nephew? I mean, that's a really good question because there's a lot of people that I have that are Giant fans that are not big on Dart. Your thoughts?
Well, okay. That's a worthy opinion, I suppose. It's not my opinion, but it's a worthy opinion. Number one, to get Arch, assuming Arch has a good year in college this year, and he's going to need to put up a good year if he wants to be near the top of the draft, you're going to have to be near the top of the draft. And every Giant fan out there is hoping that's not going to be the case again. I mean, they brought in John Harbaugh. They think they have a quarterback who can deliver the goods here. They think they've got a running back right now. I'd love to see more depth in that position, as I mentioned earlier. I like Scatterboo, but I would really like to have somebody in front of him inevitably to really be running back one. But I do think he can be a nice back as a second back. And they're going to make some moves here during free agency. I think they're going to spend. Harbaugh's going to be at the head of this thing, making these decisions, which I like because the current hierarchy hasn't been making good decisions. So let's get someone else making some of these decisions. But no, first of all, I believe in Dart. And here's why I believe in Dart. And it's not the sample size is too small to know. I mean, it's too small to know. But I do think that there is this thing called the look test when it comes to quarterbacks. And I think a couple of years ago, we saw it with Brock Purdy, right? Everybody just laughed at the idea. Brock Purdy, this guy that was picked in the final round, he was Mr. Irrelevant, wasn't he, Paul? He was the very last guy.
Who's that? Purdy? Yes, he was Mr.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant, like, all right, well, last guy, we'll take this quarterback. And immediately when Purdy started to play, you just could tell. Like, you were just like, this guy knows what he's doing. That was a pass I've seen Joe Montana make. Whoa, Dan Marino could do that. Like, I know I'm comparing him to crazy people, but he was making throws and making decisions and showing kind of a penchant for how to play the game of football. And that to me is ultimately the most important thing that any quarterback needs to have. Of course, you need to have pretty good arm. You need to have these skills, but do you know the game, and are you looking in the right places? And what I saw from Jackson Dart in that very small sample size of last year was a guy that knows how to play the game of football. I felt like he ran when he should have run. He threw when he needed to throw. He was looking at multiple options in terms of looking at his sequence, going through his sequence behind under center, behind a line that still remains a sketchy situation for the Giants. So everything I saw about Jackson Dart last year gives me a lot of confidence that with a better coach, with a whole team of people now that they've put around him. I mean, people may laugh at the Matt Nagy and some of the other guys they brought on, but you couple them all together, Callahan and Nagy, and he's going to have a really nice team of people that has a really good wealth of experience coaching him up. So I think he's set up for success. Now, the Giants need to put some weapons around him. I mean, that's part of the problem. I mean, Malik Neighbors hopefully would be back from his injury, but they need more weapons. But I have a lot of faith in Dart. And no, I don't think the Giants are thinking about Manning at all. I think that's a wonderful story, and it's kind of a pipe dream. And wouldn't it be cool to have another Manning? But I don't think the Giants will be in a position to draft him. I'm not even sure what he is. And I think they're focused on the guy that they have. And I think the guy that they have actually is pretty good.
And to jump in here, because I agree with a lot of what Lurch has said, the worst season that John Harbaugh has ever had in his entire run with the Ravens is a 5-win season. Every other, think about this. This just is a flex for Lurch.
What year? What year was that?
That was 2015.
Was that his first year?
No. He came into like 2008 or something. So it was just a random off year. I can't even remember who their quarterback was at the time. Joe Flacco, I assume, when he got injured. But so they had one 5-win season. Every other season he coached in Baltimore, he was there for 18 years. He had at least 8 wins. Think about that. 17 of his 18 years in Baltimore as a head coach, he had at minimum 8 wins, if not more. And the more is 9-win seasons, 10-win seasons, 11-win seasons, 12-win seasons, 13-win season, and yes, even a 14-win season. So from everything of that, the Giants won't be in a position. The Jets have 3 first-round picks in 2027. If the right team is at number 1, the Jets can offer their firstborn son to go move up for Arch Manning. The Giants, if they're, let's say they win 5 games, which by the way, I don't think is likely, but that's the worst that Harbaugh has ever done. 5 wins put you at 6 or 7 in this draft by record. Every year is different. 6 or 7, unfortunately for a Giant boy over there, wouldn't be enough to move up for Arch Manning. That and what other assets are they giving up? So I don't think they'll be in a position to do it. I think Jackson Dart, to Lurch's point, he gave the good and bad of it, of like, it's a small sample size. It's impossible to say he is the guy or isn't the guy from that perspective. But I think there's a lot of upside. The Giant fans should be excited. I'm not going to be Jelly Nelly over here over not getting Harbaugh for ourselves. Him as a Giants fan, he should feel elated with that acquisition. But I don't think Arch Manning is realistic for the Giants, because if he plays the way he did at the end of the season, again, the beginning of the season, Arch Manning was super questionable. The final 3, 4, 5 games of Arch Manning, you're like, what? Oh, there it is. There it is. If he plays like that this season, which again, that's a massive leap to make, man, he's going to be the number 1 pick.
And you know what, Johnny boy? I'm actually more concerned about Abdul Carter going into next year than I am Jackson Dart. I mean, if that's not a statement, this guy was picked number 3 in the draft, and I'm more worried about him turning into something than I am the quarterback turning into something.
And that's kind of like that's the whole thing that I come back consistently, right? Like, if this is a draft that is essentially more heavy on defensive players that you could potentially get, right, a little bit later on, do your research some more, but you could get your top offensive weapons in the very beginning to bolster up an offense that's been just bad. Like, I want points. I want to score points. Why not? Like, why not? Like, why not get a Tate at 2? People are just killing it. People are saying it just to say no, as if we've been that good on offense. if we've had winning seasons, because the formula for the Jets is always what, BG? Let's get defense. Let's boost up the defense all over again, right? Let's do what's been not working for us for the past 10 years. No winning season, 15 years, no playoffs. Let's do that again. So like I fight that consistently, trying to say, but then you get a guy like a Bane, you get a guy like a Bailey, you get a guy like Caleb Downs, right? That they're talking about is probably the best player in the draft. All right, overall, even at his position. But we're saying don't get him at 2 because he's a safety and he would be crazy. I understand maybe because of the money and nobody's ever done something like that, but we need players here. We need guys that are dogs, okay? And that's what you want, at least in my eyes. Everybody that's watching, first and foremost, thank you guys so much. You guys are watching Jets Worldwide, wide. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the sub. Go check out my guy at the MC Show Digital. Again, that is at MC Show Digital. And our guy Boy Green Daily, 7:30 a.m. every single day. I don't know. It's crazy. But guys, I'm going to ask you guys this.
Hey, can I do a real quick thing? I'm always humbled when people decide to do this. Shout out to Macho Talk Sports. He just joined the Boy Green Espresso Club, baby. So thank you, Macho. That's 5 bonus raffle tickets to the contest this month. And every month you remain a member, you get 5 bonus raffle tickets to the contest. So Macho, apparently me, Johnny Boy, will see you at the Espresso Club meeting in about 8 days. So Macho, thank you very much. And thank you guys for continuing to support the Espresso Club. That's very cool.
So what are you guys' thoughts on taking some calls today? Are you guys good? I mean,
phone a friend option. That's a lifeline. Yeah, on a game show. Sure.
Let's do that. I always enjoy this guy's take. He's always here. I think there's a running narrative today of showing the guns, the bicep. I mean, we had it with Carl in the morning today, and then now tonight, right? We got our guy James coming in to let us talk.
Bro, Johnny, bro, I promise you, I'm not sure. I'll throw on a sweatshirt, bro. I just got home. I'm not showing.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
BG, stop the shit, bro. I'm not showing anything, brother. But anyway,
James, thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you for waiting, dude. I know you were there, and I saw some of the takes, and you were like, "What are you guys talking about?" Like, it was awesome. So, talk to us.
Yeah, thanks, James, and the Pythons. Appreciate you both joining us.
DG, I'm never gonna call into your show again without like a pullover now.
Oh, a parka.
Right?
Nice.
A parka. A parka. Yellow one. A green one that says JE and TS on the other side.
Okay, good color choice. Yeah.
All right. So, I as far as the draft goes, I think second. It's unanimous. It seems that we have to go with Orville Reese. I mean, is that me? Is that is he going to be? I'm worried he's going to be not an Abdul Carter, because I think he's way more. He's bigger. He could play the will. He's not just an edge rusher. But I get weary of these guys. I do. And David Bailey, to me, I know what he's going to do. He's going to go forward. And he's going to knock guys off the ball. So I'm not exactly sure who I want to go with for the second pick. However, the 16th, if KC Concepcion is around, this kid is going to be a stud in the league, because once you get him in any space, he's gone. He's got wiggle. He's low to the ground. He doesn't, I don't know how tall he is, but he's very stocky, very shifty. And I think that's something that we should definitely look forward to. However, Ty Simpson.
He's 5'11", 190 is KC Concepcion.
Is that how big he is?
Yeah, 5'11", 190. Yep.
All right. So that doesn't work because Garrett's going to be in the slot. How tall is Jordan Tyson? 6'3".
Ooh. Yeah, I think Jordan Tyson's a lot bigger, but let me make sure I'm not speaking out of turn here, I guess.
And dude,
he's 6'2". 6'2". He's 6'2", 195.
what about Mekhi Lemon?
Oh yeah, let's look
He's
at Mekhi
5'11".
Is
He's
he?
like-
Dude,
he's like 5'11".
but bro, watching his tape, Johnny, have you watched this tape? Dude, this kid, he is so
Yep.
he doesn't drop passes and he's
5'11",
so
190.
shifty.
Yep.
Wow.
The route running on him is what I like a lot. That's why, James, like, I don't feel like you could be wrong because all those positions that you're talking about, it's a need. So
Yeah.
The bigger guy is
Well,
Denzel Boston. Denzel Boston's a bigger kid. He's the kid out of Washington. He's 6'4". He's not much heavier. He's like 205, but he's 6'4".
BG,
He's
is that David Boston's son? Remember
That's a
David
good
Boston with the
question.
Cardinals?
yeah, right. Oh, that's a good question. Let me look that up. I don't
Possible.
know. Let me see.
Lurch,
I don't know
what's your thoughts on what James is talking about?
Well, I think there are some good players. I mean, he's mentioning some good players. I love Lemon. I think he's a good player.
I do too, man.
Jets would be good if they could get him. Boy, if they could get him with that third pick that they have, if they didn't have to take him with that second one, but they'd probably have to try to take him with the second one if he were out there. I don't think he's going to last till the beginning of the second round. But always, you never know how the draft's going to fall.
But then what do we do with with a guy like Isaiah Williams, right?
Hmm.
He was a he was a stalwart returning kicks last year.
Sure.
I don't think that's gonna fall off. So I guess Casey Concepcion is gone because he would kind of help fill that role.
Mhm.
We have Garrett. I think Garrett's gonna be in the slot a lot.
Sure.
And we have to see what AD is. We have to see what Mechie is. Honestly, one of them is going to end up being the 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably Mitchell. Mitchell's a pretty
Probably.
decent player. If the Jets can develop him, he's a pretty good player.
What do you have? That 12 catch game?
He did. He had a really nice game. He had that bomb touchdown from
Right.
Tyrod in the Falcons
Right.
game for like 50 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows if, Frank Reich is not a stupid man, and he knows how to fit players into his scheme, and he likes these big quarterbacks, which is why the whole Kyler Murray thing, I think, is silly. I don't think that's even a possibility. He's not taking a guy that's 5'8".
Well, he's come out supposedly and stated that whole conversation about big quarterbacks and all of that, it's a false narrative that he's never stated.
When did he say that?
Yeah, when did he say that?
It was just recently. I forgot where I read it at and I saw it, but I'll pull it up now.
Okay.
But they haven't even had a press
am not, but I don't. Kyler Murray, man, like I do not want to trade for him. Now, if he gets cut,
Which it sounds like it's very possible.
It's a conversation. It's a conversation, right? Like
for sure.
It's a conversation to have because he would instantly be better than anything we have right now in the quarterback room. So I can't pick and choose.
Let me ask you a question though. So let's say he does get cut, right? Frank, from what Boomer Esiason says, and he was his roommate in college, they're best friends. He does not like small guys. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
And Kyler's, what is he? 5'8"?
I think he's like 5'10" and a half.
5'10"?
Yeah.
So that's not going to work. That's not something that's going to be a viable option. But
right, Boomer said pretty emphatically, like he said, any quarterback under 6 feet ain't going to be the quarterback of the Jets based on what he knows about Frank Reich. So,
and they're like friends that call each other on holidays. They're not.
Yeah, they're best men in each other's wedding. Yeah,
is that right?
Yes, yeah. That story came out in Rich Cimini's piece, and Dan Pompei of The Athletic wrote about that earlier today.
I didn't know that.
In each other's weddings. Yep.
So, what do you guys think as far as vets for a quarterback?
Cousins, if once he gets cut, I would do it. Why not?
Why would you do it? Bro, he's not going to be all in.
I don't think we're gonna want somebody that's gonna be completely all in.
Johnny,
it's
Johnny, how much?
Now.
But Johnny, how much more can we deal with like mediocre, not all in shit? I can't, dude. I'm going on 37. Like You're I think like a
Wait,
year
what?
older than. I
You're
can't
going
do
on
it
what
no
age?
more. I'm gonna be 37.
Wow, you look
James,
so
I
much
tell
younger
you,
than you are.
James, I tell
I'm
you
gonna
this,
be 30. I was born October 6th, 1989. I'm gonna be
Jeez,
37.
oh, wow.
James,
Okay.
I tell you this. I am
Yeah.
not on the boat. I'm not on the boat of wanting to tank. Like I want a winning season. Like
No
I
one
want a
wants
winning
to
season.
tank.
There's a lot of people,
Some
man.
Milan action, I
There's a
guess.
lot of people that want to tank because they're like 2027, right? They're even not thinking about next season. They're already skipped it. They're like 2027,
Madden skip a
you know,
season,
like
right?
2027. And James, it's insane to me because that's why I throw all of these things that are out there, right? Like you saying, like Frank likes these big guys. I kept talking about Will Levis. Will Levis is being talked
And there's
about.
nothing wrong with that, by the way. I just want to make that clear. If he likes
Correct.
big guys, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Will Levis, the guys that he's done Adonis. I mean, yeah, I'll take a flyer on him. What do we have to lose?
And Anthony
nothing.
Richardson, if that's the case, that he's still gonna have.
Mm,
As I still want a vet quarterback though, and then have that guy as the backup.
Okay,
Right?
so
What about some Tanner McKee action, huh? A little bit of Tanner McKee.
time out,
Daniel
BG.
Jeremiah said, hey.
Hold up,
I do
BG. I sent something in the chat. I
Ooh.
want to say last week at some point.
Oh, okay.
If we can get McKee
Mhm.
for a fifth, yes, yes,
I love Boss Girl.
Ugh.
do it. Who's boss girl? What is she? Is she throwing something up there?
She
Yeah,
said
she
Will
said
Levis
Will
is a
Levis.
dumb blonde.
I don't want any part of Will Levis. This
But
guy.
BG, let me.
Go ahead. Yeah, yes, of course. James, go
I
ahead.
want your preference, right? So
Yep.
OTAs next year.
Yeah.
Forget about the positional things that are coming in the draft. Quarterback wise, four QBs at OTAs. Who are they?
Okay, 4 QBs at OTAs. I want Hendon Hooker.
Okay.
I want Tanner McKee.
Okay, we got to trade for that, but okay.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Come on, they're smart people.
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Give me Taylon Green. Okay, he's a rookie. He's 6'5",
Green.
massive dude. Yeah, hit that with a Google search.
Yeah, I got to check that out. I'm not.
He's
familiar.
a big boy. He's a big boy.
Okay.
I like him a lot, and
And
he's a mid-round pick.
Frank likes his boys big and thick.
Yeah, I saw it on the dating profile, so I'm all about it for him. Blessed be he. And then to round out the room, give me, Marcus Mariota.
Oof.
Who calls in the show that loves Marcus Mariota? One of these guys from down south.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but I heard him repping. But
Johnny Boy.
Johnny Boy was up here at one point, right? Johnny Boy, where are you from?
I'm originally from Long Island, man, but
okay,
I'm
all right.
Here.
So yeah, you're good. You got to pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have to. I don't know. But I just think that we need to find something stable as far as a veteran presence goes at the quarterback position. And then the more film I watch on Ty Simpson and who the fuck am I? Nobody. But he looks good.
All right.
And it looks like he doesn't get rattled. Like I want to see a guy that doesn't get rattled in the clutch. Like I'm a big Knicks fan, right? Jalen Brunson, who he wants the ball in his hands when it's time to fucking win the game. I want my quarterback to say, you know what? If I'm not making the throw, I want to make sure I check into the right play to get us where we need to be to either get this first down that seals the victory or the touchdown. So
100%. Hey James, I appreciate you. I got some other
guys, I'll let you go.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for your support, man. You continue to keep coming up.
Hey,
man.
We'll talk soon. Guys.
Sounds good. Thanks, man.
James.
All right. Well, that was JetsWorldWide, James right there. We actually have somebody that is getting ready to go live soon as well.
Are they going to be wearing a turtleneck or something, or are we changing the vibe in here? What?
I don't know what he's wearing. He's wearing something, but he is actually coming on because he has a lot of questions for Lurch. He said, Lurch, I like what you're talking about. So we're bringing him on right here. You guys know him as the host of the Danger Zone. Our guy, Dano. Dano, what's going on?
What's up, Dano? Loving the beer.
Dude,
Oh yeah, the beard
Man.
is of great quality. Yes,
do you need a turtleneck when you have this, man?
Yeah,
that's a
you know?
good point. Where would that even go? It's an important question. I don't know.
Very, inquiring minds. I had to leave the gym, man. I was just waiting 20 minutes for James to spot me. And, I just got tired of waiting. You know what? Johnny's right. I got to go. But I do have a question, man. I threw a couple in the chat, the Arch Manning debate. I wanted to get Lurch's thoughts on. I thought that was incredible to hear from a Giants fan. I don't always get to do that. Shooting the boot. Maybe we can hear about your thoughts on that there, Lurch, later on about Cam.
Yeah, it was asking about that. Clue me in on that. I didn't get it. I was trying to figure out what you were saying there.
Well, he live streams occasionally. Cam Scatabo does, and at one point I seen one of his clips, and he was drinking out of a boot.
Oh, drinking.
Yeah, the shoey. Yes.
You want a cool story? I'll give you a quick cool story on the boot. My first time ever in a Major League Baseball clubhouse, a friend of mine was doing media for the Chicago Cubs, and he invited me to come spend some time with him in Chicago. It's my first time ever to Chicago. And he says, "What do you want to do when you're in Chicago?" I was like, "I don't know let's take in some sports and stuff. I've never been to Wrigley. Let's go to Wrigley." He says, "I'll tell you what, we'll do Wrigley. We'll do one day in Wrigley where we'll cover for media. So I'll get you a media credential, and you'll just, you'll come to the press box with me. You'll sit in the Wrigley press box. We'll go into the locker room after the game, talk to the players, whole 9 yards. You'll be, quote, my producer. And then we'll do a day in the bleachers the next day. We'll do back-to-back days, and we'll do bleacher bums, and we'll do media." So the first day was media. And two cool things happened to me that day. The first thing was Sammy Sosa was on the team at the time. And I was saying the whole time on my way to the trip and everything, I was like, I just want to talk to Sammy. I gotta have a convo with Sammy. I got to get Sammy on tape. I want to talk to Sammy. And my buddy was like, "You're not gonna get him. He's very truculent with the media. He doesn't talk much. And he pulls the whole I don't speak English thing." I'm like, I gotta get Sammy. I'm gonna get him, man. So we got to the game really early, and the first thing we did is we just literally, since you can wander around pretty good at Wrigley, I was sitting on the Chicago Cubs bench. I was in the dugout, sitting on the bench. I was like, "This is unbelievable. I'm like, I could walk on the field. I'm on the bench, the Chicago Cubs." It was like a, wonderland for me. It was really cool. And so I'm sitting at the end of the bench, right where the players come out of the tunnel, and guys are coming out to stretch and do stuff. This is way, way before the game, before fans are allowed in. And all of a sudden, here comes Sammy Sosa. And I see him. I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Sammy. It's Sammy." I'm like, "Holy crow, it's Sammy." And so I'm like, I got to do something. My buddy's sitting next to me shaking his head. "No, man, don't do it. Don't do it." It's like, "Sammy, what's up, man? I'm Jim Lurch from Syracuse, man. I've been waiting my whole life to talk to you. How are you, my friend?" He says, "I'm doing great, my friend. How are you?" He sits down with me on the bench with me, and I have like a 10-minute conversation with Sammy Sosa.
Wow.
That's
my friend was like
incredible.
mind blown, totally mind blown. Very, very cool.
Dude.
Which, by the way, just a random thing on top
let me
of
give you the
it.
boot. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, give the boot. Yeah,
Yeah,
where was the shoey?
Let me get to the boot. Sorry, the boot.
Okay.
After the game ends, that day I'm covering for media. That was before the game. After the game ends, Cubs win. I go into this is the first time I'm ever in a clubhouse at a professional game. I've cut a lot of minor league games, but I had never gone into a professional clubhouse. And I'm in the clubhouse of the Chicago Cubs. And the first thing I see is Mark Grace, the great Chicago Cub player. He's getting pretty old at this point, late in his career. Mark Grace is carrying a gigantic glass boot filled with beer, and he's chugging it in the clubhouse. And I'm just this is what
My
a major
kinda
league
guy.
clubhouse is. He's just down in a boot of beer. He's guzzling everyone's cheering him on. I was like, you think
Clip
they win
that.
the World
Clip
Series
that.
or something? This is the craziest thing. That was my first thing I ever saw in a Major League Baseball clubhouse. Mark Grace drinking out of a boot of beer. Crazy.
What a way to start off that journey you were on.
Very cool.
Hey,
Very cool.
I do got to run, man. I will say Sosa, McGuire, that whole turn of the century baseball, man, that is peak core memories for me.
Very cool.
But as I'll hang up and listen, but I just wanted to get you guys Giants, Jets. I mean, I think Boy Green even mentioned it this week that we have traded with them in the past.
Yes.
Brees Hall. Yeah.
Correct.
You reminded me, we traded up for Brees with the Giants. Leonard Williams. So I just wanted to say real quick, And guys, like and subscribe to Jets Worldwide and MC Show Digital while you're waiting. But yeah, lock you two guys in a room. You're both GMs for your franchise, and you have to hammer out a trade between you two before the kickoff of free agency. Let me see what you guys can come up with. And thanks, Johnny boy. Have a good night, guys.
Dana, where are you going? Where can everybody catch if they want some more Jets content?
The Danger Zone, which you may not know is a Jets channel, but look close enough at that avatar and you might see that little Jets logo, man. One day it'll be the biggest thing in my avatar. One day.
There you go. The Danger Zone.
Later, Dano.
Nice,
thanks, brother.
Awesome. Very awesome.
Well, that's a good question. So,
all right,
make a deal.
Cocked a trade.
Okay.
Before he said before
the
free agency. What
yes, before free agency. Yeah.
Repeat it one more time, Dano.
Yeah. You have to do a deal today, basically. Okay. Do a deal that suits both you guys. You have to agree, obviously, but one that suits both teams, okay?
So Jackson Dart for Breece Hall. Got it.
There you go.
Yeah, anything that sends Breece away, I'll rubber stamp, all right? See you guys.
All right. I've got, okay, so I have an initial trade offer for you, Lurch.
All right. I doubt I'm going to accept it, but go ahead.
I can't get my phone to work. Wait.
Hold on.
Well, let's see. Oh, wow. Okay. We're making a call. Kayvon Thibodeau. What's the availability like on old KT?
He's available for the right price.
What's the right price? Where are you starting?
I'm starting with something with a 1 in front of it. You
You
got two number ones. I'll take one of them off your hands.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. That's very nice of you.
Fine.
All right, now wake up, pal. Okay, and now what? Now you've woken up from your slumber. Now let's get real. Kayvon Thibodeau. I was reading that Bill Barnwell ESPN piece. Saw he'd go for a 4th round pick, man. That's some nice value there. I'd be willing to dip my toes in.
Man, I wish you had something on your defense that I actually wanted, but you really don't.
Oh,
gosh. I mean, what is on that defense? Now that you gave away your 2 best players in a trade this past year, what the heck is on that defense that I want? I would have taken Sauce off your hands a while ago.
That's very nice of you.
I don't know. We'll see. That'll be interesting to see how that trade works out because Sauce is, he hasn't, he got hurt, but I mean, he hasn't exactly lit it up there.
So anywho, what about a 4th, man? We got a 4th with your name?
No chance. We talked about this on our show the other day. I'm not handing Kayvon Thibodeau away to someone for some meaningless pick. I mean, we expended a top 5 pick on this guy. And I'm sorry, I'll just stick with him then. I'll die with him on the vine then before I give him away. Just like you don't want to give Hall away for nothing. And I don't blame you. I wouldn't either. I don't think they should give him away for anything less than I don't even want a 3. I mean, Jake Asman was talking to us the other day saying, yeah, maybe a 5. I was like, get out of here. There's no way I would let Breece Hall walk for a 5th rounder. I don't even know what I'm getting in the 5th round for crying out loud. No thanks.
All right, I've got a counter offer. What about that Abdul Carter guy? He barely even shows up to your meetings, for God's sake. So, I mean, what's that value?
We got him on the rookie deal and the whole night. We got to find out what he is. We got to find out what he is. So it's just too early to give up on a guy like that. So then,
okay, all right. Here's my final trade. If we can't get this done, maybe just Manchild and Boy Green, Jets and Giants, and just cats and dogs. Maybe we can't work it out. Well, you're picking 5th. We got the 2nd overall pick. Come on down. Come trade up for it. You can jump over to 2, pick whoever you want. You'd have the number 1 overall pick of all the non-quarterbacks, baby. It's a great deal. Just let me see. I got the NFL draft value chart right here in front of me.
What would it take to move up?
Let me see. Let's see what picks old NYG has available. So the difference. So the Giants have the 5th overall pick. That's 1,700 points. The Jets have the 2nd overall pick. That's worth 2,600 points. That's a 900 point difference. So it's a little bit steep. But so it would cost you. I'd be willing to do this, Lurch, here because I'm a giver. Okay. I'll take your 2nd round pick. That's 37th overall. And I'll take your number 2 in 2027. Bing, boom, bam. Let's go.
2 2s, huh? Yeah.
That's it. 2 2s.
You pancake eating bleep,
David Putney. Throw in Putney.
Part of the problem, too, is that I wouldn't do that because we don't have a 3rd rounder. We don't this year.
No.
So, now we wouldn't be picking after that first pick forever.
105.
That wouldn't be good. So we can't do that. We're just not in a position to do that, at least going into this year's draft, because we have needs too. And I did for the Giants. What's the benefit to get to 2? Who are they going up to 2 to get? I mean, they might be able to get Tate at 5 if they want to go wide receiver. They can get one of the 3 defensive guys for sure. You know, is going to be available at 5.
But don't wait for leftovers. You get what you want. You jump in and you get your pick of the litter. You get your whatever front 7 guy you want. Caleb Downs, pick your wide receiver. The course is yours. And you know what? I'll even counter. Okay, you say, I don't know. We don't pick again until this pick. We'll throw you in our 4th round pick. All right. We'll throw you a pick 103. So then you have 103 and 105. And then I want a 2 this year. I want a 2 next year. And then we fall back down to 5.
I'll give you Thibodeau for one of your linemen. Okay, that's what I want. You know, you got to give me a pick. Just go straight up.
Offense, defense, what?
Yeah, I want an offensive lineman from your team. Yeah, you give me an offensive lineman, I'll give you Thibodeau.
Okay, maybe I got a backup for you or something. I'm not giving you a starter.
No, I want a starter. No, you're not getting a backup. No, Thibodeau's starting for you. You give me a starting offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Hey, we got ABT that we just extended for like 2 years. You want him?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, no deal to be made.
Yeah,
we tried, Dano. We tried.
We're not really. The Jets and the Giants are just not a great fit for a trade this year, to be honest with you. Not a great fit.
Do it for Johnny. Would have been beautiful. Couldn't get Putney. Couldn't get Putney in there.
No, Putney wasn't part of it.
Darn. So sorry.
Well, it looks like I think we have another caller calling now in here, and he's been in the background waiting. Our guy, friend of the show himself, Mr. Lou B. Mr. Lou B, how are you?
Ooh, what's
up,
guys?
Thank you for calling in.
Get Lou. I'm gonna have to switch over to my Jets Gotham hat there. I like it.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
I got
I got it for the game, the rivalry game that was about 2 degrees there, so I couldn't really wear this hat anyway. But BG, first of all, I'm sorry for giving it to Nick Faria on your show the other day. He couldn't handle it.
That was awesome. Thank you.
He wasn't happy when I called. But guys, real quick, I have to say, like looking at this draft, I feel like the way to fix this team right now in the beginning is really in the 2nd round, because if we can just get more 2nd round picks, like if Cleveland has 2 2nd round picks, if we could get them to move up to 2, which maybe they don't necessarily want to. There's good players at 6 too, but 6 is a real peculiar pick because you're before Washington. So if you wanted to take Jeremiah Love, you can probably get him at 6. I don't know if the Giants are going to go away from Cam Scatterbo, but what I'm saying is if we can get 2 2s from Cleveland, and then we could use our 16 even to get more 2s, or our 33, which is very likely to get more 2s, right? So you look at the 2nd round and you look at guys like Zion Young, Lee Hunter, Jacob Rodriguez, Jennings Dunker, Logan Jones, Tyron Montgomery, Malachi Field, right? These guys.
Yeah, by the way, real quick, Cleveland only has 1 2. They have 2 1s.
They have 2 2s. But
yeah, I have their draft chart in front of me. They have 1 2, but they have 2 1s, though.
2 1s. Okay, so
yeah, they have 24.
You use all
24. Is there the pick? So
if you use our picks to move back to acquire more 2s, that you can do it with the first, the 2. You might be able to do it with the 16. You might be able to do it with the 33rd. So what I'm saying is if we can, and we already have 2, right? So you look at these other guys that are like there in the 2nd round. These are guys with incredible potential, right? And we need so many players. All we keep on talking about is filling holes. You could do it in the 2nd round with guys that could possibly be as good as first rounders. And we have the draft ammo to actually do it. I mean, if we walked away with Lee Hunter and Zion Young and Jacob Rodriguez on our team, these guys were virtually unblockable at camp. So if we can get some offensive linemen, maybe get another really Omar Cooper Jr., Elijah Sarah. There's so many great players that are in the 2nd round. We just need more 2nd round picks. So my question to you guys is, how do we get more 2nd round picks?
Well, the problem is you're seeing something that a lot of teams are seeing. So, it's not going to be so easy for teams.
But we have more draft capital though.
We do. We definitely do, I mean, I think it's just going to be that timing thing for the Jets because you need somebody who feels like they can't get their guy in the first round and that you have the pick that gets them to the place where they can get it. And then they're going to give up something of value. But, that doesn't always happen in the draft or,
Yeah, obviously. But there's just so many guys there.
Well, what about this, Lou B?
Yeah.
Here's another team that has 2 second-round picks. Houston has 2 second-round picks. They got that from the from a previous trade. So they have that in there. They have 59 and 38. So it's a big gap. So one's early, one's later, but they have 2 second-round picks.
Would they want the second pick? Is there I said, would they want the second pick? You can't hear me?
Let me see.
Did you hear us?
Yeah, no, I got you now. I can hear you now. Sorry.
What I'm saying is, is there anyone that they would really want to go up and get?
Do they have a need for 2?
Yeah, do they have a big need for one of these guys? I mean, obviously, there's so many good guys, but they could come up and possibly try to give us because we need we do need to fill a lot of holes. And obviously, if me and Johnny's offensive plan doesn't work out, just going straight offense, the other way is to fill the holes is by these 2s.
Luby, let me ask you.
All right, what about this? Okay, so instead of them moving up from 28 to 2, that's a massive leap. What about 28 to 16? We move back to 28. We pick up second-round picks, probably both, I would say, with the drop-off. And then we have 2. We have 28. We have 33. We have 44. And there are 2 second-round picks. So we have 6 picks at the top 100. Boom!
It would be unbelievable because if we pick some guys a little bit early, right? Or there's so many great guys there. There really is. And 16 is not the greatest pick this year. I mean, yeah, it could work out, but it's not 10, right? It's not 10. Sure. 10's a good pick at this point, but 16 is a little bit weird with the players that we have in this draft. But that's just all I had to say. I just keep on looking at how the hell do we fix this team, and I wonder if they're thinking what we're thinking.
Luby, let me ask you this, and Lurch, this is for you too as well. The CJ Stroud conversation is starting to make some noise out there. Okay, it really is. Would you take this year's number 2 overall pick, another number 1 next year, and in a second round for CJ Stroud? Do you do it?
If they gave us a 1?
No.
We gave them a 1.
We gave up our 1.
Fucking 1s for that bum.
I would. So
fuck that guy.
You and I are in agreement. No way.
He saw a ghost, man. He was the most people that didn't even watch football that were watching that game were like, what was wrong with that guy? He was so scared. Yeah. That was the most obvious shit.
Happened to him. I don't know. It's really peculiar. He looks so good that first year, but something's up with him. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot-ball.
I just like him, Johnny boy. You see,
I don't. I just say stuff like that just to get a rise of individuals, right? Like it's just
that.
Like so
2 1s for that bum. Hell no. They're gonna look to trade him out soon, man. They're gonna put his backup plays better than him, man. His backup is who we should get.
Yeah,
David Mills.
Yeah, I would take him in a second. He played pretty good.
With that being said,
Lou, how about your sprinter straight up for CJ Stroud?
I'll give that. Yes, I'll take that. Just no problem. Take it right now. We need somebody.
Yeah,
I'll pick up the keys right now. No problem. Done. Anything to save this fucking team, man.
100%. Looks like we get a great night. Another caller coming in.
Good seeing you, brother.
Mr. Afram.
Oh, hey. Gentlemen, how are you?
Waiting. Oh, it's a whole bunch of people calling me right now. I don't know what to do.
It's a busy channel.
Everybody, where are you guys?
Macho.
Macho.
On 5 screen here. We've got 5. Man, I'm in the middle of all this.
Yeah. We live. Jets Worldwide.
There you go.
Hey, Macho, thanks for joining the Boy Green Espresso Club, baby.
Of course, man. Of course. I have a question for you guys. I know Lou P was talking about trying to get 2 seconds. I want to kind of upgrade that a little bit. I'm looking to get 2 first. I'm looking to trade back number 2, and I'm calling Jerry Jones, and I'm trying to get 12 and 20. What are your thoughts on that? I would love 3 picks in the top 20.
Damn. Well, that the value wise equates. I have the draft value chart in front of me here. Dallas's picks. Let me see. I've got the numbers in front of me. Dallas's so our second overall pick is worth 2,600 points. 12 is 1,200, and 20 is 850. So they would still have more to make up. Their two ones wouldn't be enough to get two. So we'd have to also get, and they don't have a second round pick either, or a third round pick. Oh boy. Oh wow. We're gonna need some 2027 action to make that up.
And that's gonna be my point. I think that can give us an extra pick up in 27, where that draft class is way better than it is this year, and we're already stacked in 27, which can also help us if we need to move up to get the quarterback next year. We have an extra pick on that, and then also the need fits. Where the Cowboys need that pass rusher. Obviously, I would love a David Bailey or a Bain or an Arvell Reese at number 2. I'm sure they would too, and hopefully that's enough to kind of give them that so much to want to move up, basically. So
Jerry
that's
Jones,
kind of my
gambler,
process.
might go for it. Sucker born every minute.
Good idea. Like it, Macho.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That would work. I think that would be good for the Jets if they did that.
Me too.
So we don't want nobody in free agency. We're just like, the hell
We
with
can see the free agency. Why can't you do both?
Free agencies before the draft.
Yeah.
Why can't you do both?
Well, you can look at it this way. First of all, Boy Green, I watch your show every morning while I'm at work. I'd love to call in, but to be on TV while I'm working is not really a good work ethic.
Good. Smart man. Yeah.
So, but we have to have a balance of free agency and new guy.
The draft.
rookies.
Right.
We got 79 million this year.
Mm-hmm.
We got over 200 million next year.
Crazy.
Okay. Doesn't mean we can't sign a boatload of free agents this year using some of that money from next year. Okay. If you want a particular player, you could also, if you're dying to get Love, we do have 3 number 1 picks in the next year, and we can use one of those to jump ahead of anyone that we feel is going to jump for that pick, which I would think would be at Washington.
Right.
Okay. So there's options out there. And if you're not going to keep Brees and you really want to have a solid run game, if you want some, I know we want to trade for all these players, but the difference between a winning team and a decent team is game changers, and we don't have any game changers. The only one we have really is Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay. And unfortunately, he hasn't had the support system of a good quarterback to show it. But you need that one guy that always comes through the clutch, makes that play out of nowhere, and changes the game, changes the momentum of the team. And you usually get those guys in the first round, on average. So that's why I'm looking. For me, I would love to build my front 7 solid, because your secondary helps them quite well. It doesn't have to be a super excellent secondary when you have 4 guys rushing and forcing the quarterback to make quick decisions. Okay, Giants did it against New England twice.
Yeah.
Philly did it to Kansas City. Yep. And what did we see this year? When you force the quarterback to make mistakes, okay, with your front 4, makes a world of difference. I know we want to have more points, but we have some decent players on this team. We could add a couple of a veteran. You got Dobbs could be a number 2, right? You could sign him, okay, and just build that defense, because you still got 2027. You can start getting some rookies and start replacing some guys in the future. There's many ways to do. Unfortunately, we haven't had enough of Muji to see what he's going to do in a situation like this, rebuilding a team. So we really don't know where they're going to go. But you have the head coach who's a defensive guy, so he's going to want to build that team. He's going to want the guys that he wants to be violent. So who you get? You're going to get violent players, all right? That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm going to see if we make that. The quarterback. I really don't want a 38-year-old guy. We've had enough of these older quarterbacks. Give me a game manager. I have no problem going with a 32-year Mariota just to run as a bridge. Okay. Murray, there's a issue with work ethic and character. Okay. So I don't know if it's going to fit. You're going to come here and you're going to start listening and changing. You have to be a player. You got to have to be, you got to give it all for the team, because that's what they're looking for. We've lost a lot of guys that have been nothing but in a losing situation, and you have to get that mentality out of there. So we've got rid of a lot of guys. You got to bring in guys fresh, and you got to start winning. That's the bottom line. And for all those tanking for Arch, this regime is going to look to make some wins, and we're not going to be there for one overall.
Hell yeah!
And the only
hopefully not.
And the team that's going to be there one overall, there's a reason why they're one overall. They probably need a quarterback, and they're not going to trade out of that position if they know they have a guy that is a franchise quarterback. So you can use all three number ones that you have. You're not going to go up there because this doesn't happen all the time. You usually grab if you see a really good quarterback class, and there's other guys in there. For me, I take I'd go after Nussmeier because I think his coaching from his dad.
I like him too.
He's like a smart quarterback making smart decisions. He can throw. I think his last year he had like a oblique injury that hurt him. But whatever, what we all do is we watch highlight films. He can throw. He's accurate. Just throw it down the field. We're not looking. I'm not looking for the days where we used to throw 80-yard bombs, to Wesley Walker or anything like that. The game has changed. Move the yards, 10 yards every time. Run and pound, and just keep moving the chains and controlling the clock. That's how you beat down defenses. I don't want 3-second touchdowns. I want to take over the game.
It's like what Nick says right here. I mean, good, stable franchises stay true to their board, and they don't give up extra picks to jump up.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to Nick.
Boy, Green, where is Nussmeier projected right now? Where is he projected?
Yeah, so for Garrett, the LSU
second.
Product. Yeah, well, here's a big thing. So I just heard Matt Miller. He was on the brand new Jets Draft podcast onboarding, and he says the QB1 in this class is Fernando Mendoza. The QB2 in this class is Ty Simpson. The QB3 of this class does not exist. And he said, we draft people, are going to try everything in our power to find the right man for that job.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try to push someone to be this QB3 that doesn't exist. I think there's a huge opportunity next week at the Combine. Fernando, from all reporting I've heard, is not going to throw at the Combine, which means the show is open if someone wants to take it. So if it's Ty Simpson, if it's Garrett Nussmeier, if it's Drew Aller, I don't know what his health status is heading into this, but he was invited to the Combine. Yeah. One of those guys lights it up. Maybe Garrett Nussmeier can leapfrog into the conversation. But Garrett Nussmeier right now, I'd say, is probably mid-third round pick. But obviously, the supply is low for quarterbacks, but the demand is high. So we want someone to step up to the plate. Garrett will have every opportunity to work himself higher into day 2 and hell, maybe back into day 1. But I would say his ceiling probably is the second round.
Yeah, and I believe coming into this year, due to his decline from his oblique, he was projected to be very 100%. High.
Yeah, top 5 pick. Yeah,
top 5 pick.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's all a crapshoot anyway. But
of course, right?
You got it comes down to solid coaching and support. Simple as that.
100%.
I like the idea of trying to build that front 7 first because I believe BG said it earlier in the show where we're really not getting any pressure on the quarterback, which is preventing us from getting any turnovers as far as interceptions in the passing game. And it's making it really hard for our cornerbacks and safeties to even keep coverage for so long because the quarterback has so much time to throw, therefore making our secondary look so much worse than I think it actually is. And I think if we can get somebody that can actually put some pressure on that quarterback to make them make a quicker decision, and the only way to do that would be to kind of build that front 7. it's going to open up the defense so much more in the passing game, and I think that front seven, to your point, is really important.
Yeah, and I don't want somebody. I want some bodies.
Mhm.
I don't want to rely on one guy.
Yeah.
I want 2 or 3 on that line, on that front seven to be, cause havoc.
100%. Well, guys, want to say I appreciate you boys coming on to the show as always, man.
Yes, sir.
This
Yes,
was
sir.
great having you guys on here. Macho, you saved me, bro. Macho
Got you,
could
bro.
tell you now he's part of that espresso club. He could tell you how much I was panicking, all right, not knowing what I was trying to do. Afram, as I always say, he's probably the only individual that can fix the New York Jets.
Hey.
Macho Afram, I appreciate
I
you
can only
guys.
fix
Thanks for
things
watching
around
Boy
the
Green
house.
Daily,
Thanks, bro,
brother.
man.
Peace out,
Thanks,
guys.
pal.
Very nice. Very nice. Very good.
All right. Afram watching Boy Green Daily, but can't call in. I know there are a lot of people like that in the audience. So, Lurch, we talk about this all the time on the radio. The people that call into the show, we assume like, oh, wow, that's our audience right there. And it is an audience that calls in, has the opportunity, but it's a minority. The majority of the people that listen or watch a show will
You'll never
never
get
call in, will never comment, will just quietly listen to the show and enjoy it of their own accord. And we forget that, I think, because we most interact with the people that comment every day, that call every day. But there's a lot of people that interact in other ways. So, Ephraim, thank you so much for supporting the show. Appreciate it.
Are you guys good for one last call? Because I think I'm getting another beeping, and it's yep, there it is. It's another guy coming in, which we appreciate a lot, and he's very shiny. So with that being said, our guy, Nick Shine, welcome.
I'm the opposite of Afram. I'm at work and I'm calling in. Fuck that. Do something.
Yeah, there you go. Priorities.
Speech to
Priorities.
play to be had for crying out loud.
Hey, Lurch,
How are we, gentlemen?
This is
Nick
Nick,
Shine.
Nick, right? The Nick Shine Show. He's another Jet content creator here. Awesome. BG, Nick, you guys know each other. So
Yes, sir.
what's going on, Nick?
I'm listening. I'm enjoying it. I'm finishing up at work and I sat down for a few minutes before I got to end the day here and lock up the school. But you know, Johnny, you watched my show and I am against trading up. Number one, because I don't feel there's anyone worth jumping up for at 2 or 16. I think the value is trading back, getting more 2s and 3s. And I think Muji's going to want to close that gap. I've repeatedly said we have one pick in 131 selections from 44 to 175. They're going to add more in there. I think the value in this draft is there. I don't think the value is the blue chip talent. There's not the clear pass rusher. There's not the game-changing pass rusher. There's not a tackle. For the first time, as long as I can remember, we're not doing mock drafts selecting a tackle in round 1. So I think that they're going to look to move back. I think they are praying that somebody wants to jump up to number 2. I don't think it happens. I think a lot of teams will stay true to their board at the top end.
Yep.
But at 16, that's the spot where I think if somebody wants to come up, that's where we can get value. And then at 33, you take those calls all day long. You got 20 hours to pin 31 teams against one another. No, not enough. No, not enough. And then you get a haul for 33 and you add a 3. You slide back into, you guys were mentioning Houston before. You slide back to 38. You get another pick. Then maybe you slide back again, get another pick. And then you still have 44. And now you might have 2 3s on top of it. And you've closed that gap and you've added third rounders. Jets fans, do not be afraid of picking in the middle rounds. This is where championship teams are built. Do not let the woes of general managers past scare you with Muji. You want to tell on who we're going to pick, gentlemen? Look at the age. Membu, 20. Taylor, 20, almost 21 when they drafted him. That's the tell for guys at the top of the draft because they're going to want to build these guys. You know, they took Malachi Moore, who's 24, later on. But at the top of the draft, they believe they're going to be here for a while. Whether we agree with that or not is to be determined, right? Whether that actually happens. But their plan of action is to draft young players that they can coach up and develop.
Arvell Reese is 20 years old. Interesting.
Yeah. Reese is young. Bailey's what, 20?
Yeah, let me see him, Bailey.
I forget if Bailey's 22 and a half, 22 and 3/4 on draft day. If you're on Tankathon,
Yes, yep. 22. He turns 23 right before the start of the season in late August.
So that could be a tie-breaking tell, right? Like they went young with Membu last year. Then Taylor in round 2, they went young. Later in the rounds, you can go with an older, more experienced guy who might help you immediately as a mid-round pick, having experience. But early on, draft the guys with high ceilings who are young, who you can develop. I am adamant, pounding the table, address offense, whether it's Linderbaum, veteran quarterback, a red zone threat tight end, a cheap veteran receiver, and then attack the defense. Aaron Glenn's name is on this defense. His job could be on making this defense elite, or maybe even just middle of the pack this year, with it trending towards elite in year 2. So now that your name is here and possibly your job, go get, whether it's Bain. If you're going to play a hybrid front and you think Bain is the best day one, get him. If you think it's Reese and you can move him around and you can open it up by adding other players to this front 7, do it. And then work your board. Don't reach. Don't jump. Don't get nervous. Believe in your process and hit a fucking grand slam, man.
100%. Lurch, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with everything Nick said. I think it's a good strategy. It's just what can, trades in the draft, obviously they happen, but can you make the ones that you want? The Jets have their unique situation. They have all these front end picks. Would it be nicer to have more depth and have more stuff in the middle so that you don't have a big gap and you don't have a long period of time where you're not drafting anybody? I totally agree with them. You just got to find the right partners. Never easy to do that. Because one of the things about the NFL too is just those relationships, and I just wonder, with the Jets situation in the front office and who their GM is and who their head coach is, do they have the relationships to make those trades? I think that's part of the challenge.
100%. And I mean, Nick, I'm on board with that. Being able to pick up more picks and getting there. And I've constantly said it, like a lot of people were really crapping on AG, right? And what Muji was doing. And I was like, oh, what has he done? Or blah, 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 which everybody's entitled to, You fan the way you want to fan, and nobody should crap on your opinion or your take or anything like that at all. But I'm like, yo, they did really well with the guys they picked up in free agency that they put here, which was the guys that we all ended up liking, right?
Yeah.
And then in the draft, the Malachi Moore is like, it was probably our best safety. Like,
I don't know if that's
not a high bar to clear. Though,
I know,
let's be real.
but
that's not a. That's like saying you're the fastest kid at the Special Olympics. Let's slow down here, right? Like there's things to keep in perspective. If you're the Jets' best safety, you still can be really, really awful. But
you made it to the Olympics.
Get great at something, right? Like that should be the goal this year. Show Woody Johnson, show the fans we put a concerted effort into our front 7 and we made it great. Now we're going to invest into our offense in 27 and we're going to try to make that great. And prove to everyone, don't half-ass it. Don't go, we're going to get a wide receiver, but we don't have a quarterback to get him the ball. But in the future, it'll work. Don't take Sadiq and think, now we got 2 tight ends, but we don't have the quarterback to get him the ball. Go get a defensive tackle. Go get a CJ Allen, if Styles, who I don't think makes 16. I saw someone say that. There's no way he gets past the Giants and Washington. Because to me, he's the Bobby Wagner replacement. If Harbaugh just doesn't say, that's my middle linebacker, and I know the value of a middle linebacker. So Styles is a pipe dream, unless he gets a meth mask or something, and like Tunsil did. There's no way he gets the 16. But you got C.J. Allen, you got Hill, you got Rodriguez, you got Golday from Cincinnati. You have the possibility of Bailey, Bain, Reese. You can go Banks or McDonald. You can go and hit 3 guys, bang, 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 and build your front and just say, you know what? This is going to be the heart of our football team. We're going to bring pressure. We're going to do different things. We have guys who can play 4-3, 3-4 hybrid. We're going to do what Houston did. We're going to put a lot of picks in round 1 and 2 into this front, just like Seattle did. And then we'll take care of the offense down the road. But we're going to compete. We're not going to get dominated in the trenches anymore. We're not going to give up 3rd and 4 runs to Josh Allen anymore. We're sick of that shit. We're going to say enough's enough. And then Aaron Glenn and Muji can go to Woody and Chris at the end of the year and say, You saw what we did with the defense. Now it's time for us to turn up the offense, allow us year 3, and watch what we build. That's the only way they keep their job, is to just drop the fucking hammer with this defense and play. I said it the other day to you, Boy Green. I say it on my show all the time. Every single time I've watched a great Jet defense, there's been a guy in the middle. Ferguson, Jenkins, Buha, Snacks Harrison, Quinnen. You've had that guy in the middle of the defense allowing everyone else to do what they want. Go get Caleb Banks at 16. Go get Caden McDonald if he's there. If you move back, if they're both there at 16, that's your chance to move back a little bit and come out with CJ Allen, Banks, or McDonald while adding another pick. So
and Nick, you said
Yes.
you said that on your show. What's that show again?
It's the Nick Shine Show. Thank you for asking, sir. I appreciate it.
And Nick, and that's the content that I appreciate especially when you come on, because everybody's just so caught up on all of the Ohio players that are coming out, right? Which, I mean, granted,
And they're nice. And they're
good as
nice.
anything, right?
They are
Marvell,
absolutely 100% worth
Caden
drooling
McDonald.
over.
But there's other players that
Sure,
are there
yeah,
that you could move back and potentially get, and not just be so this guy and that's it, and it's over with. Like, that's why I don't get it, you know. And a lot of it will be told in free agency as well. I mean, we were having a conversation earlier in regards to that. So, yeah. And guys,
and here's the thing. I tell you this too all the time. You hear me say it. In 22, when we drafted Sauce at 4, I had no reaction, none, because I wanted Thibodeau. I didn't want a corner at 4.
I want a KT too.
I waited until we traded up, and I predicted the Jets would trade up with the Titans, but I had it for Nakobe Dean in my final mock that day.
Wow.
They traded up to the Titans, and they took Jermaine. When they got the corner and the edge, that's when I liked it. I liked the culmination of it. We might not like one of the picks. You might not like it, but let it all come together with the top of this draft and look at what they're building. If you come out with Bailey and you go to 3-4, and then you bring in Banks, and then you take Rodriguez or Golday in round 2, and then you go get Basantis a guard, you're becoming an ass-kicking team in the trenches. And I'm okay with that because I want to build from the inside out. If you're good in the trenches, everyone else can do their job a lot easier.
100%.
Just fucking build it from the middle out, man. And then next year, get your quarterback, get your receiver, go replace Stevens and get another corner if you keep all 3 of your first-round picks. Just keep adding to it, man. But you got to hit this year. You got to hit often, and you got to maximize this draft and the possibilities and the opportunities to move around and control this draft. These next 2 drafts should go down in history as 2 drafts that we look back at and say, that's the moment our franchise changed. That's the moment the Jets became legit. That's the moment we started fucking ring shopping. I got to go back to work. Gentlemen,
all right, Nick,
have a great
appreciate
night.
you,
I'll be
brother.
listening. There you go.
There's a mic drop right there.
Priorities. Wow.
Hey, Lurch,
That could work. Holy crap.
how was your thoughts on Jets Worldwide? First time coming on. I mean,
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool.
it was that
you
last
Jets fans,
call got
you
me
Jets fans, all a bunch of dreamers, man. You know, you're dreaming of good things happening, man, and then the reality comes in and they make these bad picks and all kind of bad stuff happens, man. I feel for Jet fans. I really do, man. I like the Jets. I want to see the Jets succeed. I hate this whole idea that the franchise is cursed. But there is some reality to the fact that, like I see what he does every day, Paul. I'm talking about, and then I see a guy like Nick here is obviously very passionate about the Jets too, man. That guy should be like a high school football coach.
He is.
I'd be running through a wall for that guy.
He coaches.
But he is a coach. Wow, that doesn't surprise me at all. But again, you got to execute, right? And you got to make the right picks, and you got to make the right trades, and all that needs to come together. And obviously, the Jets' number one priority right now is they have to find a quarterback. And you can't go anywhere in the NFL without having a competent quarterback. So they have to figure something out. If they even just want to be a competent team next year, forget about a winning team, just a competent team. They have to go find a quarterback. And I don't know, in this draft, to be honest with you, I mean, I hope that Nussmeier doesn't do anything in the combine if I'm a Jets fan, and that he was available in the 3rd round. So you don't have to expend one of those first 4 picks where they can really put some building blocks in there, assuming they don't trade. and then you take the quarterback later. You take a swing at a quarterback later, and and he'd be a good swing to me. To me, of the guys that are out there, he'd be a good swing. I don't know, something I just like about him. I don't know. I might be dead wrong about him. There's so many guys are quarterbacks every year. But I loved Dart last year, and when the Giants traded up to get him, I was like, yeah, oh man, I love this, and I think they're going to be right. They're going to be right.
Well, guys, you guys have been rocking with us for a while tonight. I really appreciate it. Again, it's like I stated, you guys could tell the chemistry that you guys have between yourself. I mean, it's on point consistently, right? Just going back with the how you guys met and the conversations that just get built up, and then you guys complement each other really well. And I truly appreciate you guys coming on to here. But with that being said, I would love to give a quick solo layout to the Manchild Lurch so he could talk a little bit about what's going on at MC Show Digital.
There's a lot of really cool things going on. I was talking to you a little bit, Johnny Boy, before the show. And I was saying how moving into this digital world after 23 years in radio, and then you throw another 6 years of television for me, it's really been actually kind of refreshing. I feel like I'm kind of been reborn, hopefully like John Harbaugh is going to feel with the Giants this year. So a couple of cool things have happened. Number one, we're now almost at 700 subscribers. We've been having a really nice surge recently, and we appreciate anybody out there that has jumped on board and become a subscriber. Again, it's at MC Show Digital, our YouTube channel. We are just about, and I've been working arduously the last couple of weeks. It's actually a lot of work to set up a storefront, a shop, where you can buy logoed merchandise and kind of sport our brand. You see I'm wearing this 12th MC hat, which is our VIP club membership that we just started just a couple of weeks ago, and we hit 500 subscribers. And so it's been interesting rebuilding something from the ground up after doing something for 23 years that we just kind of extended into this world. But it's been very humbling, but at the same time, really rewarding. And so I'm just loving the process, I'm just loving the process of doing it. And, I hope people, sign up to be members, subscribe to our channel. And I hope to support your channel as well, Johnny. So
I appreciate that. I'm having a little bit of some technical difficulties.
Oh, I'm just going to take over. This is really
great. Nice.
I'll just take over, man. Like, oh, there you are.
No.
Yeah,
there we go.
Where's Snowball when you need him? Holy crap!
Yeah, right.
I don't know, man. I think Snowball is in here in the studio.
He's on some beach or something somewhere.
He's messing around with you on purpose. Nice.
Yeah.
I'll be serious because he came in and said, hi, I want to bottle Nick's draft. So
I'll get me going on the Knicks. I'm a big Knicks fan. Look out. I used to be a season ticket holder for the Knicks.
100%.
7 years.
And BG, where can everybody catch you, man? What's going on? I heard you also do a show as well.
That I do. You've heard correctly there, Johnny Boy. Yes. Again, I'm very humbled by the growing, of course, of the MC Show digital channel, which, again, I'm very happy about with my partner in crime there, Jim Lurch. On my channel, the Boy Green Daily, and where you find Boy Green Meets Woody and a lot of other shows. I'm 15 subscribers away from 8,400, and that's an insane number to say out loud. I'm closing in on 3.5 million views on the channel, and we'll be at 4 million before you know it. The support's been pretty cool. Tomorrow morning, we'll have a Jets Worldwide takeover. So, I've contributed some time here to Johnny Boy this evening. We're approaching 3 hours. Well, Johnny Boy will co-host with me tomorrow morning. On Sunday, we'll have Matt Lombardo and Hop on Pop. We'll have both of those guests back-to-back together. That should be a hoot. So we've got a busy couple of days. But, yes, that's youtube.com/@BoyGreen25. BOY Green the color, that's GREEN, the digits 25. That was my jersey number in high school. And yes, if you hit that subscribe button, I'd appreciate it. Like I said, we're 15 subscribers away from 8,400. And this arbitrary number I made up in my head when I started this YouTube channel 6 years ago in September is, 10,000 just sounds like a cool number to get to. And, before I'm dead, unless I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I think I'll eventually get there, which is pretty cool. And, the sooner it happens, the better. So that's pretty awesome. So it's cool to have built this community from my living room over there in another room to where it is now. So it's cool to hear like Afram, who was just saying it. Wow, I listen to the show every day. Like, wow, that's cool that people decide to take the time that they do.
He's moved all the way from the living room to the dining room. Way to go, man.
See, that's it. I don't know. Where could I go
Moving on
next?
up, baby.
The kitchen, the bedroom? Who knows? Yeah.
Kitchen be cool.
Well, guys, this has been another episode of Jets Worldwide, wide. Every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Guys, if you guys are watching after the fact, thank you so much. We've bringing some really good Jets content, but come support our guys over here too. You know, come check out the Manchild. Let them know, you know, that, man, I heard you at on Jets Worldwide, and you know what? I loved it. Let's talk a little bit more about some ball. And our guy BG, 7:30 every single day. And you heard him. I'll be over there tomorrow morning in a few hours.
Yeah,
we'll be talking about that. Yeah. So with that being said, I think we're good to go, guys. What's your guys' take?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
man.
you, Johnny.
Awesome,
Thanks,
Johnny.
Mel.
Appreciate it very much.
Thanks, guys. If this thing ever wants to end, doesn't want to end. It doesn't want to end. Man, I wish I had that like button that you know. Hey, the show will keep going on.
Wow.
Hold on. Snowball, where are you, man? Why'd you leave me here?
Okay.
Mookie's barking for me, man.
Yeah, there you go.
He's like, where the heck you been for the last 2.5 hours?
Yeah, right.
Dude, I'm telling you guys, I don't know what happened. But anyways, all right, well, I don't know what to do because it's not letting me end the stream. So
all right, I guess I'll see you tomorrow morning, Johnny. It looks like you're going to be staying up. So
yep, we'll just quit out. You'll be standing here all by yourself. Bye, Johnny.
You're the best. Peace.
Peace out. Later.
Later, guys. Well, now it is just myself, I guess. And hit the big red button. I'm trying to. It's not letting me. I don't know. But you know what? I don't know. This is it's been fun, gotta admit, and I'm pretty much enjoying it. So
We started off as Titans, and now we're the Jets. The start of every season always starts with the sweats. Vinny T, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, what's the deal? Don't even try to tell me that the curse ain't real. We're coming for you, better run and hide. Snowball and Johnny boys, Jets Worldwide. Why, yeah, boy. Like and subscribe. Fitzpatrick, the end of every season is always tragic. Doug Bryan missed, everybody got a piss. 2 Super Bowl seasons and with just one twist. 15 years without the playoffs, is Aaron Glenn legit? We're the freaking New York Jets, and we're built for this shit. We're coming for you, better run and hide. Snowball and Johnny boys, Jets Worldwide. Like and subscribe.